FM Talk, Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Well, there's a very good chance as you've driven down your street, you have admired houses in your neighborhood that have been covered in Rhino Shield, and you don't even know it. Except if you pay close attention, you'll notice that they're not being repainted every couple of years. What I mean is same bright, vivid colors that you would choose with regular paint, except that Rhino Shield lasts, and you're going to get a 25-year warranty with it. I've got it on my house. And I mean, it looks like it did the day they put it on. It lasts and lasts. It's lab tested to last that long against chipping or peeling or cracking. And they put this on businesses as well. Condo units from Springfield, Illinois, all the way down to the Lake of the Ozarks. You can find it. And my friend Darren will be happy to come over and give you a free evaluation of your home. All you have to do is call him. Tell him you heard Mark Cox talking about it. 877-25-RHINO. or online at 877-25rhino.com.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
The IRS definitely ramped up operations since the pandemic slowed them down, and activity only increases from here. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. If you're currently under audit or you haven't paid your taxes in the past, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm. The IRS has a published Taxpayer Bill of Rights, which says you have the right to retain legal representation. Because IRS problems are legal problems, and the Lance Drury Law Firm focuses specifically on addressing IRS issues for our clients. It's all we do. We get out in front of the IRS, devise the best resolution plan, and work to make sure you're able to take advantage of every program you're qualified to receive. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure company, call the Lance Drury Law Firm. We're local, located right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Drury Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
I like Senator Cotton and former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. I like Senator Joni Ernst, and I like Governor Burgum, and I like Governor Youngkin. I think all of them can do the job of a candidate, and all of them could do the job of a president if need be. And so he's got a long list. It's a very deep bench, but I would like him to pick what we'll call a sort of mainstream conservative experienced voice who has the confidence of the entire party and is solid on national security. So I like those 5-6 people.
That's all Hugh Hewitt said there. I should have written down the names that he said. Who's going to be Donald Trump's VP? That is the basis of the YouTube live chat poll for today, Monday, April 29th. And I don't usually start the show off with this, but I have questions. I want to know how many of you feel very confident in who that VP pick is going to be. I know that Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump had, I think they rephrase it as brunch in Miami, which could be the name of the movie. the culmination of the Trump DeSantis story could start with, their successes before the primary, and then it gets complicated. Things got a little worked up and complicated there, but then there was brunch in Miami. And then what happened next? I see a lot of people saying that Ron DeSantis, that this was a VP meeting. I don't see it at all. Do you think, Brad, that I want it so bad?
Yeah.
It's not because I don't want it.
It sounds like wishful thinking. I just can't see him being like, he's just winning so much in Florida. I feel like he wants to stack W's down there before he runs again after
He
whoever
wouldn't
the next
he
term
wouldn't
is.
have to stop being the VP because he wasn't going to have to stop being the presidential candidate. He wouldn't have to stop being the governor, to run as the vice president unless they like only pass that bill for the presidency. But then that would give him what? He won re-election in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a 4-year term. So he would be able to serve like 1 3/4 of the second term.
Yeah.
I wonder if you don't fulfill your second term if you get to run again.
I don't know. I feel like you have to have enough at least for a whole term to run.
As if he would become the vice president and be like, I'm going to go back to Florida. I mean, I would. I don't think that Ron DeSantis, gosh, it would be so good to have Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis on the same ticket. Mostly because that would force, 90% of the right side of the aisle Twitter trolls to shut up and focus on the Democrats? When I see a tweet and it's a Trump person dunking on DeSantis, I'm like, you need a hobby.
Yeah.
Learn how to play pickleball. Do something else.
Dunk on Biden.
This ain't it.
Go dunk on Biden.
There's got to be a congressional seat that you can go after with this fervor. When I see DeSantis people, same way, out there talking about how Trump is going to be the end of the party, he's the guy. And Ron DeSantis people, if you are frustrated with that, then you should have beat him. But you couldn't because this is his time. Donald Trump either has to win this election or lose again to realize that he's not the guy. And that's just the way that the cards are dealt. And I am a DeSantis person. I still am. So who is Donald Trump's vice presidential pick going to be? Doug Burgum, which is funny because I still don't know where he's the governor from. Is it like Dakota something?
Yeah.
North?
It's North.
North Dakota.
It's the other Dakota.
Burgum? Why don't I know that? I know the stupidest things. That just doesn't stick in my head. And if it doesn't stick in my head, how does it help Donald Trump on the ticket? Some people say money because he's loaded and he would bring in a healthy dose of donors, I suppose. Is North Dakota not in play? Is it in play for both sides? I don't think so. So I hear that one quite a bit, but listening to, I'm going to play this Hugh Hewitt clip again here because I'm
Cotton and former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. I like Senator Joni Ernst, and I like Governor Burgum, and I like Governor Youngkin. I think all of them.
Other than Youngkin, those are all Midwesterners.
Mm-hmm.
Cotton was Arkansas.
Yes.
Joni Ernst is Iowa. Pompeo is Kansas. I like Mike Pompeo a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that Mike Pompeo is a sleeper for VP. And the only reason why I think that is because in my calculating, I have too much time on my hands. I need a hobby. I don't need a hobby. I need less hobbies. When Mike Pompeo was kind of teetering about people were talking about Pompeo is going to make an announcement about his presidential hopes and dreams soon. He said, this is what they say. My spouse and I are going to prayerfully consider.
Mm-hmm.
We want what's best for the country. He never, ever crossed the line into, I'm running for president. He wrote a book. He did a book tour, and it was based on the fact that he was not running for president. I think that he talked to Donald Trump, and I've read Pompeo's book, and Pompeo's book has a lot to do with his loyalty to Donald Trump in the midst of all of the other people in Donald Trump's orbit, in his cabinet, that were not loyal. Pompeo was there in the State Department from incredibly early on till the end. You want somebody who is strong on foreign policy? I think Mike Pompeo is a great pick. I also think that I would just like for him to be the Secretary of State again. So we'll see where that goes. Marco Rubio is somebody who I hear a lot of people chatter about. I would love to see Marco Rubio be the vice president. I think that he has a way of speaking about America in a positive light. Do you remember when he was campaigning for president in 2016? He was talking about, like, I think it was a new American century or something, how he phrased it. But his whole campaign was very forward-looking and hopeful, which is not. 2016 was a Republican and a Democrat party that had to go out and find their candidate. So there's no incumbency to play. Now we have 2 incumbencies to play. Bizarre. But listening to Marco Rubio speak about his Cuban heritage and what it's like to know the value of America because his family came into it, wasn't born into it, it was refreshing. And he was younger, so he spoke about concerns. I mean, he was speaking about student loans. He was speaking about the cost to raise a family and how America needs to be about families. And it's just not something that you hear a lot of people talking about on the campaign trail. Marco Rubio did that. I also think that he comes up with innovative ideas that he throws out that 80% everybody loves, 20% makes people uncomfortable. But I'd rather have those ideas being thrown out there to be discussed than to have people trying to manufacture the poll-tested phrases to go out and say, so you're not silent on the issue, that you've spoken on it, but nothing happens. Does it matter, Brad, that it isn't a white man?
It does. To me,
no,
it doesn't matter.
No,
but in the scheme of things,
I know who's getting your vote.
Yeah. In the scheme of things,
it might.
Yeah, I think it does. I really do. Actually, I think that Rubio, of course, the Cuban vote is strong in Miami anyway, which is in Florida. And Florida's going to go red.
Yeah. But it's broader.
Yes.
There are people that are coming to this country or have been in this country who understand that message that aren't specifically Cuban.
Right, and they've done it the correct way. They've done it the legal way, and that matters to that group. That's why Biden's losing the Hispanic vote, because he's letting they're like, I had to do all these things to get into this country, and I did it the right way, and I did it the legal way, and you're just letting all these other people cut in front of the line by breaking the law. That's why he's losing it. Then you tap on top of that conservative social values. That's why Biden's losing the Hispanic vote. That's why Biden's losing the black vote. So, yeah, I think this does matter. And I think, too, as wrong as the perception is of the Republican Party as being racist or anti-whatever, it's important to show that there are black conservatives, there are Hispanic conservatives, that there are all these people that actually are part of this party. And the party, female, that this party isn't the party of old white men. It's actually a really big, broad tent.
And that the liberals are the party of old white women and the men who do what they say.
Yeah.
Brad told me to say that.
Yes, I did, but it's correct.
Oh man.
I'm gonna take credit for any super intelligent thing you say.
Oh, okay. Was that one of them?
Yeah.
Isn't that true though? Like the whole gosh. That there is a contingent of angry women in this country. And there are a lot of things that these women have in common. And they're generally things that step outside of the traditional gender roles that not just Americans have used or enjoyed or whatever followed. It's just like since the beginning of time, there have been gender roles for men and gender roles for women. And the thing that I love the most about the feminist movement that took place in the 70s and the 80s is it went and made it so that women could choose to do the things that they wanted to do. That because you were born a woman didn't mean that you were required to have dinner on the table at 5 o'clock and, take your husband's briefcase when he walks in, have the kids all clean and prepped to sit down and be quiet while your husband enjoys his home-cooked meal, and then you clean up and then make sure that he enjoys his whole evening. I mean, that's such a beaver cleaver kind of way to look at things. But there are women who want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So they should be able to do that. If that's what they want to do, the idea of feminism was, it's on you. You choose. You want to go be in a boardroom and sit at a boardroom table? Guess what? We're going to look at women and their input and men and their input, and we're going to weigh them equally based on the work they put in, the thought that they put into whatever it is you're deciding. But women can be at the boardroom table, and women can be heard at the boardroom table if they want to. And then you have women who try to do a little bit of both. I'm one of them. And it's not easy. Would it be easier for me if I stayed at home and cleaned my house and raised my kids? I actually don't think so. I don't think that I would be able to handle that. I don't think that that would be entirely fulfilling for me. So I get to choose to do both. And I'm grateful to have an employer that encourages me to do that. If I had an employer that was like, no, you need to give up your family and not attend to your children because work is more important, guess what? It's on me to find a better employer. And if an employer treats the women that work for them in that kind of way, they're not going to have women who want to work for them who also want to have families, and that's going to be their loss. That's the free market and feminism working hand in hand. Well, we have postmodern feminism right now that really just, it's very much so kind of a reparational type of a thought process, which is there is an anger that exists among women. And somehow or another, we've gotten past postmodern feminism into the place where women are now told when to be quiet about things that they're not comfortable with because men are coming in to do them. Isn't that outrageous? You'd have to, shake awake those feminists that came somewhere in between the 50s and the 60s, around the 70s and the 80s, and be like, look at this. I see them on Twitter from time to time being like, what was it that we were fighting for again? Because this isn't it. I've said this before. I'll say it again. When Nikki Haley was on the screen and in my home and my 7-year-old daughter saw her and asked who she was, I said, that's Nikki Haley. She's running to be the president. And she said, girls can be president too. You know why she didn't think that? Because they've never done it. And seeing Nikki Haley on my TV screen made my daughter realize that and she's a girl. If she wanted to, she could run for president of the United States too. That means something to me. That is valuable. It's not everything, but I don't think that it is completely and totally nothing like some people on the right would have you think. Because getting into these binary conversations, no pun intended, where it's like there are people, I don't know, Brad, if you see these people on Twitter, social media as well, but people who are like, would advocate for a white man to be the vice president just for the sake of sticking it to the people who say that it shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me.
That's not it either.
No.
That's not it either. How about, hear me out, we just find the best person for the job. And then whatever they are, they are. And then, my favorite thing, you choose that person because they are the best person for it, and you just call scoreboard. And you go, here's why. Bing, 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 bing. And then you go, oh, they are the best person for the job. And they happen to be a white man. Or they happen to be a black woman. Winsome Sears, Virginia. Ship that to Washington, D.C. I would love to watch that unfold.
She's crushing it over
yes,
there.
I would love to watch that unfold. Whomever the VP pick is, I'm curious if you think you know who it's going to be. I don't. My answer to this question is an emphatic no. I do not think I know who Donald Trump's VP pick is going to be. I have no idea, and I'm trying really hard to suppress my wants from the reality of somebody who they pick is going to be, I'm going to go, why did they pick that person? Mm-hmm. I called Kamala Harris as Joe Biden's VP because I said, the day she dropped out of the race for the primary, you could go back to the podcast from that show. I was elated because we weren't going to have to hear from Kamala Harris anymore because she was insufferable. And then when we started talking about VP picks and he was like, going to have to pick a woman of color, I'm like, it's going to be Kamala Harris just to personally assail my ears for however long we're going to end. Boom. So I wish I had some sort of intuition about Donald Trump's VP pick, but I don't know. You have to tell me if you think you know. And if you have a confident feeling that it's going to be fill in the blank here, make sure on the Annie Fry YouTube channel, you go vote and leave us a comment and tell us if you know who it's going to be. I want to know. Tell me, please. Dying to know. Let's talk to Will Sharf when we come back about that Supreme Court immunity hearing that he was a part of last week. Will Sharf will join the Annie Fry Show in just a few minutes. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter
at Annie Fry Show.
Point Pest Control, my best friends forever. They got rid of the spiders in my house. It's really all it takes. If you would like to be my best friend and you see a spider on me, kill it. I just don't like spiders. That's why I called Point Pest Control. It literally is the reason why I called Point Pest Control. We found a couple of wolf spiders in our basement, like at the same time as 636-798-0023. 636-798-0023. You pick up the phone and you say, I got spiders. I want them gone, dead, bye. End them. And then they come to your house and they do that. They're a lot nicer about it than I am towards the spiders, but that's okay. The job gets done one way or the other. If you're dealing with ants, spiders, crickets, mice, if you have termites, hopefully you don't, but in the case you do, you need to get to that right away. Point Pest Control will help you with that also. Call them and mention the Annie Fry Show and save an extra 10% discount on the top of any other specials they have going right now. So mention Annie to save your money. Get Premier Service plan that I subscribe to as well. It's a quarterly service. Keep the bugs out. You don't have to worry about it. 636-798-0023. Point with an E. PointPestControl.com.
What's that I smell? Can I search your car? You know where this is going. What's in that cigar? I know my rights and you do too. I want to talk to my lawyer, not you.
This is Mike Carter, founder of DidYouBlow.com and DWISTL.com. DWIs are complicated matters, and at DWISTL.com, we have 10 attorneys and paralegals working on every DWI matter.
I want my phone call.com.
So put DWISTL.com or DidYouBlow.com in your phone's contacts right now at 314-895-4040.
I just text 895-4040.
Again, go to DWISTL.com or DidYouBlow.com.
Surprise! You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
The Associates, I depend on them for eye care, and they have an announcement. They're pleased to welcome Dr. Samuel Berry to their practice. Dr. Berry is a cornea surgeon, and he has the latest knowledge and techniques for advanced eye care and treatment in the field. So what do we call them now? The doctors? No, just the best doctors to see for your best vision. In St. Louis, you can reach them at 314-966-5000. They've treated more than 250 doctors, more than any others in the practice. Now, if you need help with dry eye, LASIK surgery, maybe you have glaucoma, macular degeneration. I had an eye disease when I was just 25 years old, so my eyes are very important to me. You get the absolute best care with the doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Bersati, Andy Royer, and now Dr. Samuel Berry. 314-966-5000 or visit youridoc.com. They have a great location just off Manchester Road, a half mile west of 270. Ophthalmology Associates.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Pick up Bud Light at your local convenience store today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Mark Cox here. Did you know the Rockwood School District is a great place to work? They're currently hiring school bus drivers, cafeteria workers, and custodial staff, as well as summer positions for mowers and landscapers. They have openings in Adventure Club, which is before and after school care. They offer competitive pay, flexible work hours, and a rewarding work environment. Discover the Rockwood Advantage and join an amazing team. Go to rsdmo.org/jobs. That's rsdmo.org/jobs.
Mortgage rates have finally dropped. That's right. Golden Oak has 5.375% fixed rates available right now. Our average cash out customer saves over $1,000 a month. Call today and take advantage of our 5.375 fixed rate. Call 314-567-GOLD. That's 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
5.934 APR. FHA 15-year 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. Keep the air you're paying to heat where it should be with 15% off attic insulation. For a free estimate on attic insulation, visit aircomfortservice.com.
We're here to help you get registered to vote, whether you're in Missouri or Illinois. Democracy 2024 on 97.1 FM Talk. If you need help getting registered, go to 971talk.com/vote.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
On the road again.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
The life I love is making music with my friends. And I can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again. Going places that I've never been. Seeing things that I may never see again.
I think the court's going to find that presidential immunity exists for President Trump like every other president, but you got to be within the scope of being president. I think they'll send it back to the lower courts to find out exactly what actions fall within presidential immunity and what are considered personal. I think that's the way this will end. It will be some immunity for some of the actions.
Well, Senator Lindsey Graham speaking there about the Supreme Court hearing that we heard last week, and we thought we have to ask Will Sharf to come on onto the show with us so that we can ask him about what it was like to listen to these from inside that room, to be able to experience what was discussed. We always get the media version of it, and of course, Will Sharf here is the best of the best for us to be able to get inside and see what happened. He's a candidate for Missouri Attorney General, former federal prosecutor for the Eastern District of Missouri, and he's one of Donald Trump's lawyers. Will Sharf, welcome back to the show.
Great to be with you, Annie. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you for fitting us into your busy schedule. We're really grateful for it. Give us your thoughts on your experience of that SCOTUS, the Supreme Court hearing last week on the immunity challenge for presidential immunity for Donald Trump.
Yeah, look, the arguments really couldn't have gone better for us. We were really excited coming out of the courtroom, and we were even more excited after we saw this incredible left-wing media breakdown when they realized what had happened in the court. It was really cool to see. Basically, this case is about presidential immunity. It came out of the D.C. prosecution into President Trump, which is about President Trump's efforts to investigate election fraud in the aftermath of the 2020 election. Our argument is basically what you just heard Lindsey Graham lay out, that for official acts in office, for a president's official acts, he can't be prosecuted unless he's first impeached and convicted by the House and Senate. We believe that naturally follows from the Constitution. It's supported by hundreds of years of case law and practice. And yet when we first filed this motion to dismiss in the district court last fall, the media, the mainstream media and sort of leftist legal commentators all laughed at us, said it was a stupid motion. Then we got to the Supreme Court last week, and we believe we have a majority of justices ready to rule on our side. So it was a great day. It was a fun day. My colleague John Sauer argued for us. Another Missouri lawyer did an incredible job. And it was great to be at the table and to get to help with some of the strategic decisions that went into that and just be part of the team.
Can you explain to us folks who will never know what it's like to be inside that room? Like, what is this? You've got the Supreme Court justices right there. What is the room look like when you're participating in something like that?
So it's a beautiful room. It's this sort of incredible, very high ceilinged room. There are these sort of like stone carvings up towards the roof. The gallery is sort of packed with lawyers and members of the public, but it's a relatively small room. It probably seats a couple hundred. And then counsel's table, you're really right up against the bench where all the judges sit. So when you're arguing from the podium, you know, you're maybe 5-10 feet away from the justices and they sort of wrap around you. So just keeping track of all of them and keeping track of their questions, it's a really daunting process. And it was interesting just seeing their reactions, their facial reactions, as counsel argued different things, seeing the interactions between and among the justices. I've been there before, but for this case especially, it was just it was great to be a part of the team, and it's a humbling experience.
Yeah, it seems like, especially from your description there, that it's an incredibly intimate setting, and to be able to have these conversations with these justices where their facial expressions might direct your next response or the way you order your words the next time you speak with them, but also I would assume a somewhat intimidating environment to walk into the first time. But well, I'm going to ask you, I'm not going to answer my question for you. I'm going to ask you this question. Is it intimidating? And if it is intimidating, is it the presence of the justices? Is it the actual system with which you guys are having an actual conversation between human beings that will decide something incredibly impactful for the direction of the country? I mean, does that intimidation factor into a day like last Thursday?
Yeah, you know, this case to us, it's even bigger than President Trump or this prosecution. It really is about the office of the presidency of the United States, about our constitutional order. And it was, I don't know if intimidating is the right word, but it was a heavy burden to bear for really our entire team. And as we mooted this case, as we prepared for oral arguments, it was really on our mind that, you know, we had to do our best because literally the Constitution was online. I'll tell you one thing, you know, in court, I always try to sort of maintain a very stony face. You know, you don't want to laugh or chuckle or, you know, pull faces or anything like that.
That's the same way we operate here on this show. That's good.
It's a serious thing, and you're representing a serious client. At one point, Clarence Thomas broke me. He was asking a question to Michael Dreeben, the counsel for the special counsel's office, and he mentions Operation Mongoose, which I'm assuming no one in the courtroom knew about, but I actually studied when I was in college. Mongoose was this harebrained CIA scheme in the 1950s and 60s to assassinate Fidel Castro with like exploding cigars and trying to make his beard fall out and like all of this like crazy old school CIA stuff. So I cracked a smile for about a second and a half when Clarence Thomas mentioned Operation Mongoose. But other than that, you know, we got in, we thought it went really, really well, to the point where we actually waived our chance for rebuttal. That after the special counsel was done, we counted votes. We thought we knew where the justices were, and we decided not even to take a chance at rebuttal arguments, which is very uncommon at the Supreme Court. So really, the arguments couldn't have gone any better for our side, and we're eagerly awaiting the Supreme Court's opinion, which we'll probably get in June.
So we're speaking with Will Sharf, one of Donald Trump's attorneys, was in front of the Supreme Court last week to talk about that presidential immunity. Everything that I consume is through some sort of, I assume, political filter, a news organization, ones I like, news organizations I know that I agree with, ones I don't. And I was flipping through after the arguments were complete on Thursday and kind of going to Fox and going to CNN, and it was really interesting, the mood that I was getting, just kind of, I hate this word, but the vibe I was getting from each of those stations. And, you know, it seemed to me like the presidential immunity question, I've heard from Donald Trump, like if there is no immunity, then we will have a ceremonial president. I believe that's the phrase he uses. And then from the other side, it turned into CNN, and they're fretting over the fact that there might be some presidential immunity here that could protect someone, even like Donald Trump, should he be the president. And they were saying that if there's immunity on everything, then we would have an imperial presidency. So we have ceremonial on one side, imperial on the other. Is there something in the middle where you assume or hope or intend to see the Supreme Court? fall down between those two assessments?
Yeah, I think we have a presidency that is constrained by the structural checks imposed by the U.S. Constitution, by our system of laws, by our system of government. And I think that's held us in good stead for over 2 centuries of American history. And what's unique and exceptional is this new idea that the way to deal with presidential malfeasance is not through our constitutional system, is not through the checks and balances, the impeachment process, et cetera, set out by our Constitution. It's by trying to throw former presidents into prison. That's never happened before in American history. That's a totally new thing that the left, the Biden administration, has pulled out to go after Donald Trump. And it's worth noting that they didn't start prosecuting him until he was running for president again. So the scariest thing to me is not, it's not that the court might not give us exactly what we want. The scariest thing to me is that if we don't establish this firm doctrine of presidential immunity, that we're going to see just an endless cycle of recriminations and political prosecutions that'll consume our country, that every previous president is going to get criminally prosecuted as soon as he leaves office, that it's just going to be never ending. And I think that's how the republic could die. So that's the scary thing to me. The Trump team put me on CNN and they put me on CBS last week. You're absolutely right. There's just a totally different perception of what we're dealing with, of what the situation is there. I had to fight with Caitlin Collins in primetime on CNN, which was a deeply, deeply weird experience for me. But yeah, it's sad that that's where we are as a country.
Yeah. Will Sharf with us right now, not with Caitlin Collins, as he was saying earlier, but I'm
Thank God.
gonna tune in. I'm gonna tune in and go find that interview and just watch and see who makes whom squirm a little bit more in that interview. I've heard that people expect it to be not a 9-0 ruling. I don't know what your anticipation is, and I know better than to ask you to predict because you always say you don't like to make predictions. But I hear confidence in your reply so far to how you feel this is going to go. But a lot of people saying that this will be remanded back to, I guess, is it the D.C. court, and they'll have to figure out what is a private act and what is an official act. Any chance it gets put back to that court and we find out, oh, they were all private acts, and they can continue on with the court case as they were?
So if that were the case, we would then have a right to take another appeal up to the D.C. Circuit and back up to the Supreme Court. So that's kind of how this case is going to move. I think the court is going to set a standard on which acts are immune, which aren't, not in terms of specific acts in the indictment, but in terms of broad principles. They're going to remand that back down. We're going to have to litigate over that. Jack Smith's team wanted to bring this case to trial last January, which was insane. At the very least, we've forced the courts to engage in serious deliberation over these core constitutional issues before they can just throw a former president on trial for his official acts. And I think that deliberative process is going to continue, and I think it's going to continue for a long time now. But fortunately, I think President Trump is going to win the presidency in November. And then these cases should all rightfully be dismissed. And I think that's how this ends.
Will Sharf speaking with us right now. The consequence of the Supreme Court ruling, which we should get sometime, I think I heard you say in June, maybe towards the end of June. There what, 2 Jack Smith cases, the J6 one in D.C. and then the Mar-a-Lago one in Florida. Is that correct? Those are the 2 Jack Smith trials?
That's right. Those are the 2 Jack Smith ones. And then there's the Georgia prosecution, which is also over 2020 election stuff. And then obviously New York, which is ongoing.
So what kind of reach does the result of this SCOTUS ruling on the immunity have when it comes to everything Donald Trump is facing right now?
Well, we think this would probably dispose of the D.C. prosecution, depending on the exact nature of this decision and also the exact nature of the Supreme Court's decision in another case called Fisher, which is a January 6 case that involves some of the charges that are also brought against President Trump. So the D.C. case, I think, is on very shaky foundation right now. Florida involves some official conduct as well. And if the Supreme Court were to grant us some immunity here or recognize some immunity here, that would have a real impact on Florida. It would also have a huge impact on Georgia, which involves a lot of the same conduct in the aftermath of the 2020 election. So a ruling here by the court along the lines of what we suggested would deal probably not a fatal blow, but a very, very serious blow to the entire campaign of lawfare that's being waged against President Trump.
I want to ask you one last question, because while we're talking about that Mar-a-Lago documents case, I sent you a message, I think towards the end of last week, and they were talking about these documents that were unredacted from Judge Cannon. Is that the right one in Florida?
Yeah, Eileen Cannon.
So there have been some documents that have exposed some connections between the prosecution of Donald Trump there in Florida and a connection directly to Biden's White House. And this is so Will Sharf. He's like, oh, I wrote a paper on this a year ago. And I'm like, oh my gosh, well, I need to know about this from you. Will, talk to us just briefly here about what is going on with those documents that have been released here in the last week or so in Florida and what that means for the Mar-a-Lago case.
So a lot has been unredacted. There's a lot that's been made public for the first time. There are two big ones, though, that I think are worth noting. First, we finally have unredacted documents that relate to what appears to be a very, very serious misuse of power by a member of the prosecution team, that a prosecutor named Jay Bratt, according to court documents that have been released, in an interview with Walt Nauda's attorney. Walt Nauda is President Trump's sort of personal aide and one of his co-defendants. In this interview, Jay Bratt said to Nauda's lawyer, basically that if he couldn't get Nauda to testify, that would torpedo his chances of becoming a judge in D.C., a position that he'd applied to. Now, if that's the case, that's a serious, serious misuse of power, and there should be consequences for that. The other unredaction that I think is really important, we're starting to get more information about how these boxes ended up at Mar-a-Lago in the first place. And at least with respect to a lot of them, it turns out that they were shipped to President Trump by the National Archives. So these boxes that they're now saying that President Trump didn't have the right to retain because they should have been sent to the National Archives were sent to President Trump by the National Archives. So in order to convict him of a crime, they have to prove not just that he had documents that he wasn't supposed to have, but that he knew he wasn't supposed to have them, and yet he nevertheless retained them. How do you prove that if they were literally shipped to him by the people that they're now saying he should have sent them to? So it complicates the factual picture in this case tremendously. And I think the more that we find out, the more documents that are unredacted, the more that becomes public, the weaker and weaker and weaker that case is going to look.
Man, Will Sharf, we are so grateful to have you as a connection on this show. We appreciate your time. And we'll get done with this interview, and Brad's going to ask to book you again right after we get done, because you have so much information for us. We're always grateful for it.
No, great to be with you guys. Sorry I can't be in studio today, but really appreciate you having me on.
You have other things to do. We understand that. Will Sharf, we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thanks, Annie.
Take care. Donald Trump attorney, also candidate for Missouri Attorney General, former federal prosecutor for the Eastern District of Missouri, Will Sharf, on with us today. Follow him on Twitter at Will Sharf. It's a good follow. I encourage you to check that out. He knows a lot about the Supreme Court, too. He's worked on confirmations of both Justices Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett. So he is familiar with those stomping grounds, and we're grateful that he joins us here on the Andy Fry Show with such frequency. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Wiggins America in studio. The Monday Roundup, one of the highlights of the week, the wildest ride in the wilderness, coming up with Ryan Wiggins. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
The life I love is making music with my friends, and I can't wait to get on the road again.
When you're working with Jen Teskey on the Illinois side to buy or sell a home, you will, I'm not even joking. You're going to know in 10 minutes that did the right thing here by hiring Jen Teskey and RE/MAX Alliance. She is a fighter. She is a scrappy type of real estate agent. She knows the market. She knows what houses can get, what houses are available at any given time, what houses might be coming available. She just knows. You need someone who knows. You need to make sure you have someone who has experience, 15 plus years of experience of real estate on the Illinois side of the river. She specializes in the Edwardsville, Glen Carbon, Maryville, Troy, and Collinsville areas and the ones that surround those. So if you're in Illinois and you're thinking about listing your home, I'm doing this right now. I'm like, hey, let's talk about what this might mean, because I need a whole lot of information way before that sign's going to go up in my front yard. So talk to Jen Teskey if this is your situation, and if you're looking to buy a house, she can help you get the right house for you at the right price as well. 618-541-1010. 618-541-1010. Online at jenteskeyhomes.com.
Mike Carter here. Too often we lose sight of how fortunate we are to live in Missouri. When I travel out of state on business, people say, Mike Carter, what's so special about Missouri? Well, let's start with the mighty Mississippi and Missouri rivers traversing the state. They were the superhighways of the day, used by French fur trappers and traders. Later, American settlers like Daniel Boone and waves of pioneers drove their teams and wagons along the Boonslick Trail he blazed. Carter Law Offices, right now, founded by me, Mike Carter, started and is on Boonslick Trail, near where those intrepid settlers crossed the Missouri to harness the land. Rich soils and generations of farm families like my own grandparents made Missouri the breadbasket of America. Drive a few minutes outside our cities and towns, and you'll find yourself passing miles and miles of undulating wheat and corn, farms and ranches that feed our nation. I'm Mike Carter, and I'm proud to live and work in the Show Me State, a place God blessed just a little bit more. Go to MikeCarter.com to see more about our great state of Missouri.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, get 3 rooms, Zero Resified, starting at $129 and take $50 off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and book your appointment today. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. Zero Res.
Just FYI, we are giving away Cardinals tickets today, and we're going to do that in the 1 o'clock hour. I think we're leaning the second half of the 1 o'clock hour. So stick around and try to win some Cardinal tickets. We'll be doing that every day. The YouTube live chat poll, do you know Donald Trump's VP pick? Yes or no? Let us know. That's today's the poll. 12:49. Thank you very much. It's a Monday. 12:49. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
Sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
Hey friends, it's Annie. The Cardinals are playing the Mets on Wednesday, May 8th, and I want to give you free tickets. All you have to do is listen to the Annie Fry Show from noon to 3 all this week, right here on St. Louis's home for conservative talk, 97.1 FM Talk.
Wiggins. Oh! Monday Roundup. Yeah! This here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Yeehaw.
Sure is the wildest ride in the wilderness. It is the Monday Roundup.
Did you get your word talker working right over there?
No.
Good.
No, it was not working.
I was hoping not. It's more fun.
Yeah, it's a Monday, and let's just lean into the fact that I'm doing a terrible job today.
You're not doing a terrible job.
No, I'm supposed to talk for a living. When I don't talk well, I'm doing poorly.
Yeah, but it does create an atmosphere.
It does, yeah. Everybody else enjoys it.
It doesn't make it terrible.
Yeah. It's not something I put on my resume.
You're not a professional talker. You're a professional entertainer.
Thank you.
Yeah,
so
usually
whenever you
just
entertain.
Thank you. Yeah.
We all do it. And when I do it, you guys give it to me. So
do we? I think we need to do it more.
Okay. Bring it.
Okay. Fair.
Shart.
That's not related to Will Sharf.
No.
That is entirely related to an ad that you messed up a while back.
Big time. And Ruler Foods is still here. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I felt so bad.
That, kudos to them.
I actually had the sales. I'm like, you need to call it a public.
Yes. We do bring that one up pretty often.
You should. It's great.
It was great. It was the best one.
Worst best moments or best worst moments.
That and the spider falling from the ceiling.
Get over that.
Are like the two that I'm like, oh man, you got to go see that one. All right, so the Monday Roundup, this is the stuff you missed over the weekend, the most important things that you missed over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Number one is that Gen Z has email anxiety.
I qualify.
Do you really? Oh my
Well,
gosh, I thought we were going to
define-
make fun of people here.
Oh, we can.
Can we make fun of you?
Yeah, absolutely. What does it mean?
It says that it's the hardest part of their job. In fact, most...
That's not true
Here's what it says, though. It's the New York Post. It says most folks over 30...
Most what?
Folks?
No!
Over 30. You know, Mark
Folks.
Cox says it the same way as I do.
Exactly
Mark
my
Cox
point.
is a professional.
No, what does Kim St. Ange say? That's what I want to know.
I'm not worried about that.
It's F-O-A-K-S-S. F-O-A-K-S, folks.
In fact, most folks over 30 can still remember
Don't be
feeling
FOA.
a flush of
Ancient.
excitement over receiving an email.
That's because we used to just get emails from people.
But due to the digital natives of Generation Z getting electronic correspondence, namely from the office, it is apparently now anxiety-inducing to get emails or to check your emails.
My main personal email has 14,610 unread messages. Let's go to Annie's work email. I'm gonna have to log into this. My work email is probably worse than that. It's not good.
Does that give you anxiety?
Not anymore because I just quit looking at it.
Yeah, you just ignore it. The
Because
problem
it
goes
was
away.
stressing me out. The problem is you just get so much crap you don't need.
I will say this, in my earlier
I'm not even
professional
logged into
days,
my work email.
I used to keep a very, very clean inbox. But the older I get, the less I'm able to. And I think it's probably just because of volume.
Yeah.
So I get that. But it's not anxiety inducing. And if you're in Gen Z, just note to self, saying this gives me anxiety already makes people roll their eyes.
Yes. Here's the thing. Like, first of all, the kids these days, I can say that because I'm in my 40s now.
Yeah.
The kids these days have to name everything.
Yes.
We used to just complain about work sucks, and it included correspondence.
Mm-hmm. And a song from Blink-182.
But, like, when you're talking about email anxiety, aren't you just creating, like, conspiracy theories about yourself whenever you say something like that? Because what you're predicting, the reason you have anxiety, the reason you have the bad feelings is because you're afraid there's something bad in that email.
No.
So you're creating it in
no,
your head.
No.
No?
Not at all.
So what gives you anxiety about it?
I have 14,181 unread emails in my work account.
14,000.
Yes, look, it's right
Oh
here.
my gosh, I think I have 1,400 maybe.
No.
14,900 in mine.
No, there you go. There you go.
14,900.
Oh, no, oh my gosh.
Unread?
Yes, unread.
Yeah, samesies.
And I'm trying to go through as many of them, and I'm looking as many emails as I possibly can.
That's the anxiety.
No.
That's the crap that people don't want to deal with. It's just it's a mountain of useless work.
See, I interpreted this the same way Brad did, that it was like, oh no, what's going to be in these emails? It's not the volume. I get that.
You can't. No, the volume.
It's okay. Because if
It's
that's
a
the way
bunch
you
of
approach it, then
useless
I get
work.
it.
Yeah, it's not. No, listen. If there's something bad in one of these emails, you can't hide from it. It will find you. That's for real. And the sooner I know about it, the sooner I could address it and move on. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the article says
No deep dive into the study here. So, like page 4 is that the survey is 2,000 U.S. office workers between the ages of 18 and 24, Gen Z. They said that it's all about letting the emails pile up.
Yes.
It's exactly what you said.
Yes.
It's exactly what you said.
Yes. Here's an email from Ellen. Ellen, I'm on it. I'm working on it. I'm going to check my emails for the rest of this, but also listen to what you have to say.
Great.
Go ahead.
I'm going to play the whip sound effect here. I'm just giving Brad a little bit of notice. Okay, great job. Man, can I get this in a minute? I pay $400 a week to advertise myself on a billboard to find a girlfriend.
Huh?
No, you're clapping at the article, not my flub. I pay
Advertise.
$400 a week to advertise myself on a bill. Now you got in my head.
He's panicking.
A billboard. He's just a 70-year-old man, lovelorn Al Gilberti, 70 years
right.
old, pays $400 a week for a billboard that seeks marriage and karaoke. Found in Sweetwater, Texas.
It's seeking marriage.
It says he's already been a success with Al receiving over 400 calls. So I guess $1 a week or $1 per call. And 50 emails in just 2 weeks. And he's leaving it up. But he goes into what he's looking for in a woman. He says, if I meet the right person, I want to look in their eyes and see how they respond. I love Europe. I'd love to go to meet somebody in Europe. I don't know why you're advertising in Texas. But yeah, I'm waiting for the right person to call. So I guess he hasn't gotten that person yet.
I don't think he wants dates.
I think he wants this. I think he wants attention. I think he wants news read about
I
it.
think he wants attention. Anyway.
He's getting it.
Steve Moore when we come back. And we're going to find out what's happening to those Columbia protesters. Don't go away.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hello, Mike Carter here. I wonder if you knew that after the purchase of the Louisiana Territory in 1804, a formal three-flag ceremony was held in St. Louis to mark the transfer. The Spanish flag lowered and the French tricolor raised. That in turn was lowered the next day and the flag of the young Republic of the United States stood tall. I'm Mike Carter of Carter Law Offices here, and at that moment the people living here went from being subjects to being citizens of a great free nation. Jump ahead 220 years to what we have become, and over 6 million men, women, and children now call Missouri home. Our largest cities are an economic powerhouse, and our small towns and family farms remain the heart of the nation. A friend wrote me one time at Carter Law Offices, "Hey, Mike Carter, why don't Missouri residents show their pride by flying our state flag more often like the folks in Texas?" I was like, that's a really great idea. And I was thinking, maybe anybody who's listening to this, if you want to send me an email at mike@carterlegal.com with your name and address if you're okay doing so, and I'll send you a free state flag, and you can hang it out on your front porch and show everybody you're as proud of Missouri as I am.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The U.S. government calls out Israel. Elisa Brady, Fox News. A review of incidents before the October 7th Hamas attacks leads to this finding just announced by the Biden administration.
We found 5 Israeli units responsible for individual incidents of gross violations of human rights.
State Department Deputy Spokesperson Vedant Patel says 4 of the IDF units have effectively remediated the violations. Israel has submitted more information on the 5th unit. Again, these U.S. findings of human rights violations are from before October 7th and in the West Bank, not in Gaza. Time's up at Columbia University, where officials told pro-Palestinian protesters to voluntarily leave a tent encampment by 2 p.m. Eastern now or face suspension. The university refusing protesters' demands to divest from Israel as other tent protests continue at campuses around the country. Fox's David Spunt at George Washington University in D.C.
I spoke to some of these pro-Palestinian protesters earlier today who said they have no intention of leaving. Some chaotic moments overnight when folks stormed some of those police barriers, actually putting those barriers on top of one another and putting them in the middle of University Yard. This is right in the middle of campus. The president of GWU says these protesters need to go elsewhere. University officials say they support free speech. However, in some cases, like this one, they say it's gone too far.
At the University of Georgia, officials say campus police made arrests earlier today after protesters refused to relocate a tent encampment or make a required reservation for the protest. A federal appeals court just ruling it's discrimination for West Virginia and North Carolina to refuse or limit gender-affirming care for people who have government-sponsored insurance. The combined cases involving Medicaid and a state employee health plan could be headed to the U.S. Supreme Court. America is listening to Fox News.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
What's up? I'm tired of feeling so bloated.
That used to be me. Then I got this.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion. A probiotic, right?
Yeah, it works naturally with your gut to help soothe occasional bloating and gas. Plus, it has vitamin B12 to aid digestion by helping convert food to cellular energy. 2 benefits, 1 capsule.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Learn more at alignprobiotics.com.
Progressive presents 10 things on a plumber's to-do list that are harder than getting a small business insurance quote. Waking up for 5 a.m. plumbing disasters, finding out why water is pouring from the ceiling, replacing a pipe in a home from the 1800s, then dealing with invoices or your awkward apprentice or that really weird smell, and then there's breathing and eating and, of course, clogs. But the easiest thing on any small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you could save on the business insurance that's right for you. Get a quote in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Our high temperature should top out at about 75 degrees with a kind of gusty northwest wind. We had a cool front come by, a mix of clouds and sunshine, but let's think more and more sun going through the afternoon. Tonight, partly to mostly clear skies, 52 degrees. Tuesday, plenty of sunshine. Nice morning, but it gets a little warmer, a little more humid Tuesday afternoon. High 82. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Patriot Training Foundation trains law enforcement and military at the region's top facility free of charge. Kim Sainanj here. We're raising awareness for the Patriot Training Foundation's mission to serve those who serve our nation. Visit 971talk.com/care to learn more.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-254-4574. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-254-4574 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-254-4574 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-254-4574.
Get ready, folks! Lakeside Renovation and Design is thrilled to invite you to our showroom open house event on Saturday, May 4th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's the remodeling event of the year. Unlock massive savings in our event thanks to exclusive partnerships with top vendors and suppliers, delicious catering from Sugar Fire, and fantastic giveaways throughout the day. Turn your remodeling dreams into reality. Mark your calendar for Saturday, May 4th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Lakeside Renovation and Design, where your dream home becomes reality.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
We ask them now, okay, has it gotten better? And very few people say that it has. In fact, many say they feel it's gotten worse. And inflation is the reason that they say that. But what's also interesting is we ask them, okay, look back to the economy during the Trump years. How do you remember it? And the majority say they remember it as being good.
Because they forget about the pandemic.
Well, they seem to be skipping over the pandemic, and that's exactly what that tells you in their memory of this. But it also explains now, when you ask them, okay, now let's look forward. They say, more say, they feel they'd be financially better off under Donald Trump. And that cuts directly to vote, and that is helping the former president.
Don't fall out of your chair, but that was a CBS poll where they were talking about swing state voters and how they are looking at the presidencies. Like I said earlier in the show, in 2016, both parties had to go out and find themselves a nominee that was going to have to win their party over and then, of course, win the country over to become the president of the United States. Donald Trump was able to do that in 2016. Now we have the power of incumbency for both Donald Trump and Joe Biden going head to head. And if you look at these polls that are out there right now, this is a CNN poll with, do you see Biden's years in the White House as a success or failure? It's 2024, folks, and 55% of the people surveyed see Donald Trump's presidency, his years as a president, as a success, and 39% see Joe Biden's time in office as a success. And a huge majority of this comes from people in their economic position on how they feel about what is taking place economically, personally, in their lives at the gas pump, in their checking accounts. If you see wages going up, but costs are going up faster, how are you supposed to feel good about that? Let's talk to our friend Steve Moore about it, Distinguished Fellow in Economics at the Heritage Foundation, also a Trump economic advisor. Steve, welcome back to the show. It's good to have you here.
Hey, Annie. Good to be with you. And by the way, the answer to your question is you can't really feel very good about this unless there's some people who are doing better, but the vast majority of people are doing the same or worse in terms of their financial situation. And Americans know it. And no matter how many times you try to spin it, it's not going to change people's feeling of financial stress. So this is now. What was the number I saw you? You said it was what 39%.
39% considered the Biden administration's years as a success, and 55% for Trump, which to me is
that's
huge.
Amazing. That's an amazing number, actually, because, there's so many people just, don't like Trump. And I'm surprised they would, you get a majority would say that he was a success. And, I believe he was. I think, I don't think the way he handled COVID was a huge success, but, the way he handled the economy was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me just put it like this. As you know, I'm working as a Trump economic advisor and, meet with the president pretty regularly. That is President Trump. And we want this to be about the economy.
Yes.
We want a debate. If this is a debate about the economy, that Trump is going to win. There's no doubt in my mind. Now, if it's about abortion, if it's about January 6th, if it's other issues where Republicans might not have the advantage, then, but we want it focused on, gas prices, mortgage payments, utility bills, what's happening with your bank accounts, your credit cards. Then I think people realize that, hey, wait a minute, we just borrowed, the country just borrowed $7 trillion. What did we get for it? Nothing.
Yeah, I want to beat you to it this week because I do read the Unleashed Prosperity Hotline, and I'm going to encourage people to do it. And I want to say it before you tell people to do it. But the number 2 story on here shows Biden's 40% energy tax. I keep hearing Joe Biden talk about how much people are doing better now, and it's clear that Americans through these polls don't feel that way. But energy is such he has had a lot. He's got his fingerprints all over it. So this is something he has been able to affect, and it has not panned out well for Americans. What can you tell us about Joe Biden's actions and how a Donald Trump presidency might flip that on the benefit for voters and taxpayers?
Yeah. So you remember, Annie, what Biden's first act with president was?
Keystone Pipeline. Goodbye.
Yeah, the pipeline. He killed the pipeline. So that was sending a message to, the American people. I'm going to, bankrupt and he even said for president, I'm going to try to bankrupt the coal industry. Well, gee, guess what? We have more oil than any other country in the world. We get 83% of our, energy from those sources. And so this idea that we're going to, and by the way, that's the reason that energy is 40% more expensive, because if you reduce the supply of something, guess what? Its price goes up. But here's something, I don't know, I think we had this in the hotline on Friday, not today, that the Biden administration put out this directive, I think it was by the EPA, saying that all freight and cargo transportation in the country has to be on a carbon neutral form of energy. And so think about this. So now there's tens of billions of dollars of freight that crisscrosses all over the country every single day. We're a big country. And imagine you've got a 10-ton truck, that you're carrying heavy equipment across the country. You're going to do that with an electric battery? Really? I mean, so they're saying, the trucks have to use batteries, not diesel. They're saying the cars have to use, have to all be electric. What about the ships? A lot of the ships are carrying what are we going to do are we going to use sailboats? I mean,
don't say that out loud, Steve. Don't.
Yeah, really.
Put that out there.
And the rail too. I mean, our rail service uses diesel, and we have a very efficient rail cargo system and the freight rail. And now they can't do. There isn't even a battery that exists that will allow that to happen. So you're going to destroy the transportation system. And by the way, if you do that, what's that going to mean for the price of everything from groceries to gasoline? It's going to, increase the price of everything. This is just a very, very dangerous idea. Now, he's not going to do it overnight, but he says, in the next 10 years, we're going to, use none of these, so-called, greenhouse gas emitting fuels. That's not going to go well for the country.
Yeah, it isn't, and it hasn't been. And he's doubling down on it. Do you think that
he is?
Howard Stern had a love fest with Joe Biden that Joe Biden was basically just physically present for, it seems. But he did manage to say that of course he would debate Donald Trump. And I think a lot of people probably went, oh my gosh, why did he say that out loud to Howard Stern? Does Donald Trump need a debate with Joe Biden to communicate to the American people the stark difference between the choice that they have on November? Is a debate necessary?
That's a good question. I think one of the things that went wrong in the 2020 campaign was, remember, everybody was thinking, oh, Trump is going to destroy the, brain-addled, Joe Biden. And, he went out and debated him, and it was, a terrible performance by Trump, just terrible. And I think it's one of the reasons he lost, because Biden was able to stand at the podium for an hour and a half and at least not embarrass himself. And Trump was rude, and, it was the bad Trump.
Yeah.
And so, but on the other hand, his last debate he had with Hillary, he just creamed Hillary, and that's why he, won that election. So does he need to have the debate with Biden? No. But I'll tell you this, we want to see, I think the whole country wants to see it. And I think those of us who support Trump want to see it, because Trump can put out all the ideas. I'm for border security. I'm for producing American energy. I'm for fighting crime. I'm for, deregulating the economy. I'm for cutting our taxes. And I think the contrast is so sharp between these two candidates that the American people need to see that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it would be a disaster for Joe Biden to show up. But if he wants to be the president, he needs to show up and show the American people that he can.
Do you think he will?
Here's what I think is going to happen. Yes, I think he will agree to a debate. I think it'll be a week before Election Day, where it won't matter for the majority of Democrat voters, because they'll probably have voted by then. And he'll set the terms, and it'll be with people who are super sympathetic to the Democrat cause. So I think he'll do it. But everything that they can put their finger on the scale for him will be done, and it'll be so close to the election that it won't matter.
Well,
as much
you
as it
you raised a good caution, though. I mean, I've been watching these presidential debates for 35 years, and have you noticed that the moderators are almost all they're pro-Democrat?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Remember the debate between Obama and Romney, and I'm not a big Romney fan, but Candy Crowley, she kept rescuing Obama.
Yeah,
in the debate. She wasn't neutral. She was.
Donna Brazile gave Hillary Clinton the questions. I mean, it was
exactly.
It's even worse than that. One last question.
Even still up.
Yeah. One last question before we let you go is you talked about Donald Trump's performance in that one where he was really hostile and angry, and you said the words bad Trump. But I have talked to a lot of people who know Donald Trump personally, and they talk about how personally attentive he is when people are speaking to him, charming and kind. And it is what I would qualify as the good Trump. I just want to know what is the Donald Trump that you want people to know about and see, since you do know him in a personal sense?
Well, this is a really great point. And, look, I know the good Trump, and I think most Americans, even a lot of people who support him don't know what a good man this is. I mean, he is a good man, and he's a great man, and he is, and you I think you used the word kind, and that may surprise people, but he is very kind. I mean, when I was under pressure, when I was being attacked, he came to my rescue all the time. He'd call me when I was feeling down about it, and I noticed when I was at we had the at the Super Bowl party that he had at Mar-a-Lago. And I just watched him, just observed him through that whole 2.5 hour, dinner. And he goes up to people and he's a little, and I'm this the wrong way, but he reminds me a lot of Bill Clinton. I mean, Bill Clinton's one of the most personable, politicians I've ever met, and Trump has that quality of just making you feel special when you're around him. And hey, Steve, is that hamburger okay? Like the president's asking me if my hamburger is okay, but he does that with everyone. And now, if you try to double cross him, he's going to come in. But if you're loyal to him, he'll be loyal to you. And I've just seen it so many times. When he at the rallies, he'll come up to the person in the wheelchair and spend time with the least among us. So you're right. I'm so glad you said that. This is a man who cares about the country and cares about American people.
Yeah. I think it's so much.
He loves people.
It's always more important to understand what people are like in the quieter places or the less populated places. And when you flip that script on some of the other people who are, I guess, representing us in government, the stories aren't as savory as that one. So I wanted to give you the opportunity.
Well, I'll tell you one last story, and then I know we got a break. But I remember, when I fly with him, often, not oftentimes, but sometimes on this campaign trail, nobody can keep up with this guy. By the way, he's a freak of nature. His energy level is, I'd do 1 or 2 days with him, I'd be totally exhausted. But it's so funny when we get on the plane. It was always the same. It was McDonald's Big Macs for lunch and Domino's Pizza for dinner. He's a man of the people.
Yeah. Yes. People do understand that. We appreciate you.
And by the way, he does not drink. He does not. Did you know that?
Yes.
He does.
Yeah. I think that's been an amazing part of his story with us. Steve Moore, thank you for being with us. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you again next week. Bye-bye. Distinguished Fellow in Economics at the Heritage Foundation and Trump Economic Advisor. Talking about Donald Trump. And I do really think that this is something, I wish that there was a way to hone in on that part of Donald Trump, like real stories of Donald Trump, because Brad, as you've been working with this show and gotten to talk to some of the people who I've gotten to talk to who know him personally, who work with him, that they have story after story after story. And it's not kindness from Trump to the person we're talking to.
Right.
It's exactly like what Steve Moore just said. It's when he's around people in a room. I'm not talking about at a rally where cameras are on him. It's when cameras are off of him. He has kindness and generosity. And is that the real Trump? Or is the fighting against Joe Biden in that one debate the real Trump? They're probably both part of the same man, but it's not like there's only one angle to that
Right.
story.
I was going to say, I think they're both the real Trump, but they're the real Trump in the different situations. And what you see is you see a genuine individual whenever he's meeting with people in person. And then whenever he has to be a showman or a fighter, he becomes that person for the rallies. He becomes that person for debates. He becomes what he needs to be in those situations. Like you said, it's a multifaceted personality, and we're all like that. We all have different ways we act in different situations that is appropriate for the situation.
Yeah, I just think it's funny how even Steve Moore was like kind of not stuck on, but I mentioned the word that Donald Trump is kind. This is not the picture that is painted about that man at all. In fact, it's almost hard to believe that he would be that way if you only lent yourself to the talking points that are out there from the left. I mean, there are Democrat politicians who I know personally, and then also who I've heard about, who are incredibly kind, generous people. I disagree with their policies, but that doesn't make them bad people.
Right.
It is the campaign talking point that first and foremost, you need to understand that Donald Trump is a terrible man. And I don't believe that to be true.
I don't think that's true either. I think that man has a very drive for justice. Now what is justice might be calibrated different for him, but I think that he wants to see just things done, which is why you see him go after people the way he goes after people, or you see him take care of people when he takes care of people. He'll look at a situation and say, this is unjust. I need to make this just.
If you took away for the next, I have it on my phone here, I need to look it up. As we march towards the election 190 days from today, if you took away all the orange mad bad points, people weren't allowed to discuss the election in any way, shape, or form where it's like just orange man bad, just like a blind passionate hatred for this man. And on the Biden side, you took away the Hunter stuff. And I'm talking, like the connection between Hunter Biden and Joe Biden in the business around the world, that does affect the American people. But let's just say you took away the Hunter crack jokes and the laptop stories, and you took away the teasing about Joe Biden as an old man eating ice cream all the time. And you moved all of that stuff off the table. The choice is so incredibly clear.
And when it's just the scoreboard?
Just the scoreboard.
Oh, yeah, it's so incredibly clear.
I wish we could do that. I don't think I have the power or authority to do that. All right, let's take a quick break. If you missed it, we spoke with Will Sharf. Great conversation with him in the first hour of the show. That'll be up on the Annie Fry Show podcast for you to listen to. If you missed it, you can also watch it on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Come say hi to us. Ryan Wiggins is going to get back in studio with us, and we'll get to some more stories of the weekend, of the day. And we're watching, they're doing it right now on Fox. On one TV in here, we have the Drew Barrymore show because we haven't found the remote for this TV. we don't know how to turn it off.
Yeah.
Is it Channel 4?
Make it stop. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Every day, I look up over to my right to look at Fox News, and there is Drew Barrymore, and Drew Barrymore is sitting within 2 centimeters of somebody else's nose. And today it's Kamala Harris, and I thought, that's it. That is the pinnacle of the worst possible thing you could make me watch. Tie me up in a chair, put me in front of that. I'll tell you everything you need to know about anything to get out of that situation. And now Fox News is covering Kamala Harris on Drew Barrymore. What a nexus. We'll be right back.
Will somebody let me see the line?
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
The Diamond Shop has a great opportunity for you to save since it's still April, but it's April 29th. So hurry. It's lunchtime right now, or maybe you just need to take a long lunch and go to Clayton and shop their 40% off all color stone jewelry right now. 30% off all in-stock jewelry. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat. If you become a VIP online at the Diamond Shop, you go to thediamondshop.net, scroll to the very bottom, type in your information real quick, become a VIP, boom, 10% off with an extra VIP special on top of the other discounts that they have right now. The selection at the Diamond Shop is stunning. Anytime I see my husband and he's got that little red bag, I'm so excited. I have purchased my own little things in the little red bag, the iconic little red bag from the Diamond Shop. And when you are looking for something for someone for Mother's Day, get in there right now and save on something beautiful in every price point that you're looking for. If you want something under $100, or if you are like, this is going to be the Mother's Day of the mother of all Mother's Day, some might say, the Diamond Shop can help you out. Tell them Annie sent you and get shopping today. Become a VIP online at thediamondshop.net.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Thursday, May 16th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Seating is limited, so go online to retirementkey.com. Here's Thomas with more.
Are you close to retirement or already retired and wondering what to do with your life savings? Are you concerned about more market volatility the closer we get to the election? Would you like to know how linking to the market is smarter and safer than owning the market? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any losses and provide more income than your current plan? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you can't afford to miss this event.
Protect that retirement nest egg. Join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, Thursday, May 16th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. Is yours? Did you know that there's an R value associated with insulation? To find out your R value or for free insulation estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
What's that I smell? Can I search your car? You know where this is going. What's in that cigar? I know my rights and you do too. I want to talk to my lawyer, not you.
This is Mike Carter, founder of DidYouBlow.com and DWISTL.com. DWIs are complicated matters, and at DWISTL.com, we have 10 attorneys and paralegals working on every DWI matter.
I want my phone call.com.
So put DWISTL.com or DidYouBlow.com in your phone's contacts right now at 314-895-4040.
I just text 895-4040.
Again, go to DWISTL.com or DidYouBlow.com.
Guys, you know summer is just around the corner. Get yourself in shape now. Let my friends at Victory Men's Health help you. Mark Cox here. You know Victory is offering semaglutide, approved by the FDA for overweight adults. It's a game changer. On average, people are losing up to 15% of their body weight. Be sure and visit my friends at Victory Men's Health in Wing Haven, their newest location in Sunset Hills. They're also in Town and Country and in O'Fallon, Illinois. Go online today. Tell them you heard Mark Cox talking about it. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Just a reminder to have your air conditioner checked for the summer so you don't have a mishap and it goes down in the hottest day of the year. But it's always best to have it done. Call us and we'll be more than happy to come out there and check it for you. And like always, if you're having your furnace checked by another company and you are told that this is the year you need to replace it, call me for a second opinion. The 0% interest is still available on most brands. Save your cash and keep your credit cards open and away from those high rates. Call me. You'll be glad you did. Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest. It is 314-293-2600 or on the website bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. Come see our waterfront in Wild Horse Village in the new downtown Chesterfield. You have to see it to believe it, and then you will understand why it is the fastest selling luxury community in all of St. Louis. Our unique modern designs are like nothing St. Louis has seen. Only a handful of home sites remain. Experience the ultimate lifestyle at the waterfront. Visit McKelveyHomes.com today. Hurry before you miss this opportunity.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Monday afternoon, as the anti-Semitic protests spread across college campuses, is the Biden administration finally waking up a bit?
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Baby, I love
so hard as a mom to listen to music of today and try not to be like, kids, how about just Veggie Tales?
Oh, I hear you. And then we just do listen to Veggie
I listen to
Tales.
that song, Enrique Iglesias. That wasn't the Anna Kournikova video, I don't think.
Now you're way past me.
This shocking.
I
that
do.
you weren't-
I am a huge tennis fan.
No, you're not.
But I don't. That's why I'm not a huge Anna Kournikova fan, because I feel like she was just there because she looked good.
Did you know why in poker ace king never wins? Or they why? No, I just blew the joke. In poker they call the ace king hand the Anna Kournikova because it looks good but never wins. Sorry, and just kind of stuck the landing there.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say.
I think she's beautiful,
I also do.
and I like poker.
I wonder what has happened to her. She was really big in about 2004.
She wasn't big; she was really fit.
She was really large.
Popular. She was
Well, maybe
huge.
that wasn't the right synonym I was looking for either.
You know, let's talk about big women. Go on, Ryan. You can take it from here.
I mean, anything
Ryan, stop.
above Anna Kournikova.
I can't even allow you to take this where your mind will take it, because I will have to apologize to all sorts of people. I do want to, Brad, you are the one who I always go to on this conversation because you have a strong,
We can trust you
distinct
more.
person. That's just given. I was talking with my oldest daughter, and I don't remember what we were discussing about, but we were talking about size. My daughter is strong, and she's very fit. She's very athletic.
Yeah.
She plays all the sports all year round. All year round. She's 11. She's never like she is built in what, some people are never going to be a size 0. Some people are never going to be a size 30, which would be on the other side of that spectrum. She does not have the burden on her that if you grew up in the 90s like I did, you were men. So I don't know. I don't want to presume that there are no self insecurities that come with size and all that stuff. Brad, you can take it from here in just a second. But girls have to face something differently, and a lot of it is internal as well. But like, if you looked at what was thin and what was like average and normal in the 90s and what was considered fat in the 90s, and you compare it to like the what they call the body positive movement right now for young girls, my daughter actually casually said, and I mean, I didn't even know how to respond to it, and I usually have something in the can ready to go. She's like, yeah, now everybody thinks it's cool to be fat. She said that.
Wow.
And I was like, I don't know how. I'm so, like a beat dog in the corner. That's really the internal version of me from having grown up in a time where it was like, if your bones weren't protruding from your low-rise pants, you should stop eating until they do.
Yeah, it was like the Kate Moss era.
Kate
Yes.
Moss was the first person that came to my mind.
Super low-rise jeans. Yes, of course, we had, people had their belly button out and pierced belly buttons and the tattoo on the, I don't know, it's called tramp stamp. I don't know what else to call it.
Tattoo on the
Above the butt.
above the butt. Yeah.
What is the other way to call it other than
I
stamp?
just call it a lower back tramp stamp.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is what we grew up with. It is so unrealistic because the goals that were set out there for girls were incredibly unattainable. And I have since learned that on the whole, men are not the ones requiring women to look like that.
Nope.
And in fact, in a lot of cases, men don't even prefer that women look like that. I don't like that in the pendulum swing from the 90s, early 2000s, you can't ever possibly be thin enough to where we are right now that it's like being fat is in. And the idea that we should be striving to be healthy and the understanding, the true God's honest understanding that healthy looks different on different people should be the goal. And that if my daughter is wearing a size 8 or a size 10 or a size 12 prom dress one day, and she is, like her mother was, a 4-sport athlete while she was doing that, That there's nothing wrong with that. And I shouldn't have spent all of that time thinking that I was so incredibly fat when I was actually really fit and would love to be that fat again. I would. And every woman listening to me knows what it's like to think back on what they look like when they're in high school or in college and go, I wish I was as thin as I was back then when I thought I was that fat. Every woman has an understanding of that body dysmorphia that happens when you're young because we were raised in a time to just think you would never be good enough. But how do we get to the place where we are right now where it's in to be fat?
That's what drives me crazy about the pendulum swings that always happen is that you know where they're headed. Even when they start to swing a little bit away, you're like,
no, stop right there. Stop.
Right there. Oh, you found it.
Yeah,
oh,
just wave
you're
as
going to
you
keep
go
going.
right on by.
Because I think that the same has happened while that pendulum has swung for girls. The same has happened for guys, but different, not with weight, but with blame, where guys took no blame for that back when that was a thing. And guys, we're probably over pressuring. If it wasn't like individual
I hate
men
standing up for you and men in this instance, but it was women doing it to women.
That's fine, but it also could have been commercials.
The only men that were responsible for it are the ones who were perpetuating it in like the Hollywood magazines, that type, whatever. But girls were doing that to themselves and to each other.
And now the pendulum has swung to men should feel ashamed for ever even thinking thoughts about anything in that zone, like the attractiveness of women. And it's like, come on. The pendulum has swung too far the other way.
Scooter says, we're not saying obesity is healthy, right? Yes, they are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because it's not about your physical health. The only thing that matters is your mental health. And we now live in a culture that says, as long as you feel good about it, you should do it. Terrible advice. Like the worst advice that you could possibly give.
I mean, I had 3 heart attacks because I was like, as long as I feel good about myself mentally. Now, I actually wasn't pressured by that.
You didn't buy in.
No, but I kind of talked myself into it, which is like, it doesn't really matter. I want chicken strips and I want nachos, and I'm going to have them both at the same time. I'm going to have chicken strips on my nachos. I'm going to eat them all. And I got up to 330 pounds by eating like a horrible individual. And it ended up causing cholesterol problems, and I ended up having a heart attack, and that led to another heart attack, and that led to another heart attack. It's something that I'm going to have to carry with me for the rest of my life. Now, I'm doing everything that I can to keep myself in good shape. But this idea that your health, like, it's not about how you actually are healthy, it's about how you feel, is terrible advice. And I think that's kind of where we went off the rails. I think that's where we lost it. We weren't really all that concerned with people's feelings whenever we were in high school, I don't think.
No, nobody cared.
Nobody cared.
This whole like Gen X attitude bleeds into the millennials up until the internet becomes like, if you've always, because there are millennials who were in junior high, high school, college when the internet hit, and there are millennials who don't know life without the internet. Huge difference. And those later in life millennials for the internet are with the Gen Xers where we grew up, and it was like tough sugar.
Yeah.
About everything. Nobody's out there worrying about you or your mental health or anything like that.
Yeah, and so I think what ended up happening is we made that shift to where feelings became really important, and then we got afraid of hurting somebody's feelings, even if our motivations for telling somebody something that was an uncomfortable truth was pure, and we were worried about them. That it's like, yeah, but I hurt their feelings, and now I can't tell them that because that is mean. I was like, well, no, you can't weigh 600 pounds and think that you're healthy. You can't do that. You actually have to take care of yourself. You have to look at what you eat. And I'm not saying you got to be model fit.
Healthy looks different for different people.
So much differently.
That is different than what we grew up with. But that is also different than the fat trend that exists right now.
And I think that the existed fat trend is driven by the feelings of people instead of being driven by, like, I think that real waif thin thing was driven by the modeling industry and stuff like that. So you had like your Kate Mosses and the popular people, and all the clothing designers wanted those people wearing their clothes.
There was so much, but nobody, like, there was such a smaller amount of ways for people to consume what, air quotes, people looked like.
Mm-hmm.
I remember buying magazines and reading magazines. I would buy magazines all the time. I would subscribe to magazines. I would get monthly magazines about various things. Do people still do that?
No.
I mean, there's got to be a generational cutoff for that as well. Like, I enjoy flipping through a magazine. I don't need to do that, though, because anything that I would want to read in there or see in there, I can see on my phone instantly, and I really don't have to pay for it. But at the same time, if you are now somebody who's inundated on your social media feeds, your Insta feed, on TikTok or whatever, with all sorts of different looking people, when you're exposed to different looking people, it's harder for the fashion industry or for Hollywood or whatever it might be to say, this is what you're supposed to look like. They just can't get away with it. So the exposure to a broader amount of people makes it more difficult for a fashion industry to control mentally how people think. But I still think the idea that fat is in, and like Scooter asked that question, then he followed up. He's like, oh, this is news to me. I didn't know that kids were being pressured to be fat. I mean, like, if you want to take that kind of very narrow look at what I'm saying, okay, go ahead and do your research. The idea that fat is okay is different than saying, listen, if you're a healthy, active person and you're a size 14 or a size 16, don't think that you're a worthless individual. Because in 1998, if you were wearing a double-digit size, you were not looking at yourself like you were made to think that you are not a worthwhile person or that you are less than. The idea that anybody's value or worth is connected directly to the size jeans they wear or how tall they are or, some sort of part of their being, that if you were to put on a few pounds that you would be less valuable as a person. That's the message that needs to be put across to people, that even if you are morbidly obese and you do need to lose weight, that you are no less valuable as a human. But that is not the same conversation as in order for us to enjoy the value and the wonderful person that you are, you might need to become more healthy so that we can enjoy our time together, same as you would for somebody who's starving themselves and not eating appropriately so that they can stay at a lower weight. That, you know what, if you weren't this thin and you were a healthier weight, meaning you'd put on some pounds, you're not less valuable as a human while you're not eating what you're supposed to be eating. But I would like for you to be your healthiest version of you because I enjoy who you are and I value you as a person. That's not the message, because on both ends of the spectrum, everybody's selling us stuff. The idea that they're selling you that however you feel inside is okay and whatever that looks like to you is okay. These people know that you're never going to reconcile inside of you that you are okay, that you're always going to need one more thing to just fill in the hole for a minute, for an hour, for a day to feel better about yourself, and they're going to sell you that thing. Yeah, we could talk more about it when we come back because I think you guys have more to say, and I want to read some of your comments as well. Quick break. When we come back, more Annie Fry Show. We'll talk about this on the other side of this break. Enrique Iglesias, take it away. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
Please excuse me if I'm misbehaving. Oh, trying to keep my hands off what you're begging me for more.
Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
Window World online.
Oh, trying to keep my hands off what you're begging me for more.
Follow Annie on Twitter
Let's try that again. Was that your computer, Ryan? Maybe? Yes,
I
it was.
maybe.
Brad.
Yes, it was. I had all those pots down.
That's why we need to not do that
Yes.
way. All right. WindowWorld.com. I'm going to get back to the business of the show here. WindowWorld.com, the windows that are simply the best for less. They are there to make sure that your window replacement process is smooth as butter. And when you go to Window World, you are going to be able to enjoy a window that when they talk to you about selling it to you, they're very upfront. I think a lot of people are putting off the idea of getting those windows replaced because you feel like there's this whole song and dance that you're going to have to go through. Window World says, forget about that. Toss it out the window, you might say. And they're going to give you the price of the window straight up. You're going to know going into the process. They'll come out to your home. They'll do their presentation for you. It's going to take like 45 minutes. And they're not going to do that high pressure, gross kind of sell that you're going to get from other window places because they are A, confident about the quality of their windows, B, very confident about the price of their windows, and C, they have all of the accolades, the acknowledgments, and the reviews to prove that these are the people who are going to basically end up having references from the people that they have as customers. That's going to perpetuate their business as well. Take my word for it, or you can go online and you can search the reviews for Window World and sign up for the windows that are simply the best for less. 314-993-1800, 314-993-1800, online at windowworld.com.
Mike Carter here. Too often we lose sight of how fortunate we are to live in Missouri. When I travel out of state on business, people say, Mike Carter, what's so special about Missouri? Well, let's start with the mighty Mississippi and Missouri rivers traversing the state. They were the superhighways of the day used by French fur trappers and traders. Later, American settlers like Daniel Boone and waves of pioneers drove their teams and wagons along the Boone's Lick Trail he blazed. Carter Law Offices, right now, founded by me, Mike Carter, started and is on Boone's Lick Trail, near where those intrepid settlers crossed the Missouri to harness the land. Rich soils and generations of farm families like my own grandparents made Missouri the breadbasket of America. Drive a few minutes outside our cities and towns, and you'll find yourself passing miles and miles of undulating wheat and corn, farms and ranches that feed our nation. I'm Mike Carter, and I'm proud to live and work in the Show Me State, a place God blessed just a little bit more. Go to MikeCarter.com to see more about our great state of Missouri.
Wait a second. Think twice before signing that petition. That innocent petition is not a replacement for Roe versus Wade. We're talking late term and partial birth, long after the baby can feel pain. But that's not all. Signing that petition obliterates parental rights. Worse, it strips away malpractice protections for prenatal care, childbirth, miscarriage care, and all other reproductive health care. So if you or your loved one is hurt while accessing reproductive care, you forfeit your rights to sue. So think twice before signing that petition and support our work at Coalition Life. Coalition Life is on a mission. We're dedicated to helping women faced with untimely pregnancies, providing them with compassionate alternatives that empower them with choices that protect and uphold their rights. Visit coalitionlife.com to learn more, because every life deserves a chance. Paid for by Coalition Life.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
At Neovitin, we are all about supporting your nutrition, and that's why we are excited about our new Neovitin Omega-3 supplement. Neovitin Omega-3 is formulated with 1,200 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids to help support healthy hearts. Our high-quality omega-3 fish oils are sourced from wild-caught fish and tested for heavy metals. With our convenient monthly subscription, you can get Neovitin Omega-3 delivered right to your door every month with no long-term obligations. Support your daily nutrition and sign up for a Neovitin Omega-3 subscription at neovitin.com today.
Today's Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll has to do with Donald Trump's vice president. Do you know, or do you think you know, who Donald Trump's VP pick will be? Yes or no, let us know. And then, of course, we'd like to know who you think it'll be. Let us know in the YouTube live chat poll. 150 right now. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. 97.1 FM Talk. You're here because everybody needs an oasis. St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Make good on a promise, never hurt again. If you're lost and loaded, you're broken down, bring all of your trouble, go
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Having a little conversation about basically social pressures for weight and the differences if you are an earlier millennial to right now. So we're going to continue on with that conversation. I'm going to read a few comments here in a second. But first, we got some business to attend to.
Yes, we do. It is time if you want to win free tickets to the Cardinals game. It is Cardinals versus White Sox. And I'll get that date for you in a second. But right now, May 8th is when the game is. So if you want to win, though, you call right now. Here's the phone number, 314-241-9797, 314-241-9797. Be the 12th caller.
That's it.
That's it. There you go. Be the 12th caller.
Yeah, it's Wednesday, May 8th. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to say about that? I mean, the idea that there are people like telling kids like gain weight, eat more food, be fat. That's not the way it is, but that's not the way it ever was. Nobody was ever saying out loud, you need to be skinnier. You're fat the way you are. A lot of people saying that to themselves. But you can't deny the pressures that are out there right now.
It's the underlying philosophy, and we've all said it. Brad, I think you just said it, in fact, that, you know, live your truth. Whatever makes you happy will make you happy. And the opposite is true. Whatever makes you happy doesn't make you happy. Like live whatever. Getting your way 100% of the time is essentially what they're saying. If you only could get your way 100% of the time and you had zero criticism along the way, you'd finally be happy. And it just isn't true. But it is the philosophy that drives so many of these things, including that one.
I also can't not consider the fact that there's a pill or a procedure or a garment or something that whatever you want to be, they can like sell to you the thing that you need to make you the way you feel that you should be, and that they can influence those things. I really believe that the fat is in movement really came after we got locked up in our houses. And for COVID, people were way less active, moved way less. Everybody gained weight. Like, you want to talk about the COVID-19? It was pounds. And I think that has a lot to do with the surge of athleisure as a trend, like nice looking athleisure clothes. Everybody was wearing athleisure in their houses because they didn't have to go anywhere, and realizing, oh my gosh, these sweatpants that I've had for 40 years, while very comfortable, I probably could invest in something that was nicer than this. And then when you get used to your comfy pants and you put on your jeans again, if you start to go back into the real world post-COVID lockdown and the jeans don't fit, then it's like, I need new athleisure. Where do I go to invest in it? I just look at trends and I see how people are encouraged to purchase things, and just think they're always trying to sell us something. And if they make us fat, then they can sell us to be skinny again. If they sell us to be skinny again and we all drop our COVID-19 weight, then we can be sold on the pleasures of life, to feel good about yourself, to eat this thing or that much of a thing, or to drink all of whatever. There's always something to sell. And I think they've been pretty good at it. It's sad. It just, I've always had it in my mind that I didn't want my daughters to know the same angst that I had growing up about trying to manage weight. I'm 5'8", and I was very athletic throughout my entire high school career. And I mean, like at my fittest in the middle of basketball season, when I would play all four quarters and I was very physically fit, I still weighed like 15 or 20 pounds more than the height weight chart told me I was supposed to weigh. And I was very strong. I understood that eventually, but I didn't appreciate it like I wish I would have when I was that age. And I know my daughter is going to have the same build that I am, and I don't want her to go through what I went through, but I also have to be very cautious to not impose upon her the worries that I had when I talked to her about it and realized, oh, she's saying fat is in.
Yeah, because you could be saying one thing and society's saying another.
Yeah.
And which voice is winning? Because that's not like moral stuff. It's more cultural.
Yes. It's tough. It's very tough. Vote in the YouTube live chat poll. We're going to talk about that when we come back. Do you think you know Donald Trump's VP pick? If you go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, you can vote yes or no, but we definitely want to hear who you think it might be. Greg says yes, he does, and he thinks it's Tulsi Gabbard. Woo! What do you think? Annie Fry YouTube channel. We'll discuss when we come back.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 40-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost you about $100 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-239-1749. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Providers help thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-239-1749. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-239-1749. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life insurance, call 800-239-1749. 800-239-1749 or biglou.com.
Hello, Mike Carter here. I wonder if you knew that after the purchase of the Louisiana Territory in 1804, a formal three-flag ceremony was held in St. Louis to mark the transfer. The Spanish flag lowered and the French tricolor raised. That in turn was lowered the next day and the flag of the young Republic of the United States stood tall. I'm Mike Carter of Carter Law Offices here, and at that moment the people living here went from being subjects to being citizens of a great free nation. Jump ahead 220 years to what we have become, and over 6 million men, women, and children now call Missouri home. Our largest cities are an economic powerhouse, and our small towns and family farms remain the heart of the nation. A friend wrote me one time at Carter Law Offices, "Hey, Mike Carter, why don't Missouri residents show their pride by flying our state flag more often like the folks in Texas?" I was like, that's a really great idea. And I was thinking, maybe anybody who's listening to this, if you want to send me an email at mike@carterlegal.com with your name and address if you're okay doing so, and I'll send you a free state flag, and you can hang it out on your front porch and show everybody you're as proud of Missouri as I am.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
So far, no big movement at Columbia University. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Instead, tense remain as protesters defy a university deadline that already passed to leave their encampment or be suspended.
The NYPD is on high alert. We saw more officers kind of lining up outside of the main gates here. I did reach out to some NYPD sources who tell me they still did not get a call yet from Columbia's president, Manu Shafiq, right, who told these students that she was no longer going to negotiate with them. Negotiations had stopped and they needed to leave.
Fox's Alexis McAdams at Columbia, where again police have gathered outside campus. The university president has said it would be counterproductive to call them back in. Protests grew there and around the country after the encampment was initially cleared by police earlier this month. Protesters at the University of Wisconsin-Madison today joining the call for divestment from Israel. On some campuses, police are still being used to address protesters not following school rules. More arrests underway now at the University of Texas in Austin and earlier today at the University of Georgia. At the White House.
It is a painful moment that Americans are dealing with, and free expression has to be done within the law. And, we're going to continue to be very clear about that. That has not changed. We've been very consistent.
Spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre says President Biden is against any violent rhetoric and that anti-Semitism is hate speech. The Biden administration says 5 Israeli military units violated U.S. law with gross human rights abuses. State Department's deputy spokesperson Vedant Patel says all of the incidents were before October 7th and none were in Gaza.
In 4 of those instances, as I just said, we have seen remediation of those violations, and that is, of course, what we expect of partners.
He says Israel submitted more information about the 5th unit. All of the units still eligible to receive U.S. arms at this time. America's listening to Fox News.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
What's up? I'm tired of feeling so bloated.
That used to be me. Then I got this.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion. A probiotic, right?
Yeah, it works naturally with your gut to help soothe occasional bloating and gas. Plus, it has vitamin B12 to aid digestion by helping convert food to cellular energy. 2 benefits, 1 capsule.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Learn more at alignprobiotics.com.
Progressive presents 10 things on a plumber's to-do list that are harder than getting a small business insurance quote. Waking up for 5 a.m. plumbing disasters, finding out why water is pouring from the ceiling, replacing a pipe in a home from the 1800s, then dealing with invoices or your awkward apprentice or that really weird smell, and then there's breathing and eating and, of course, clogs. But the easiest thing on any small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you could save on the business insurance that's right for you. Get a quote in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurance.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Our high temperature should top out at about 75 degrees with a kind of gusty northwest wind. We had a cool front come by, a mix of clouds and sunshine, but let's think more and more sun going through the afternoon. Tonight, partly to mostly clear skies, 52 degrees. Tuesday, plenty of sunshine. Nice morning, but it gets a little warmer, a little more humid Tuesday afternoon. High 82. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Okay, so you filed your taxes this year, but you know you have past IRS issues. And now the IRS letters are coming. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. Don't ignore those IRS letters. They're important and give you rights and deadlines to defend yourself. Waiting could cause you to lose those rights. Call the Lance Story Law Firm now and let us help you get ahead of the IRS and defend your rights while you still have time. The Lance Story Law Firm is located here in St. Louis, so take the first step and hire a tax resolution attorney. We've made it super easy to schedule your free consultation in person, or you can do a phone call and save travel time. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm. Call today at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I've talked to you a bunch about how Air Comfort Service came to replace the HVAC system in my home, the air conditioner, the furnace, the water heater, all separately at separate times. But we went back to Air Comfort Service over and over again because we trust the service, the advice, the recommendations from Corey Malone and his entire staff. I trust them in my home. I trust them to take care of what we need them to take care of, with giving us suggestions so that we can make the decision on what's best for our budget. This goes the same with you for your business. If you are in need of some sort of commercial HVAC repair or replacement, reach out to Air Comfort Service and talk to them. If you've already had a quote, get a free second opinion from Air Comfort Service when you call 314-513-0091. 314-513-0091. They'll help you walk through the whole process. They'll give you the information you need. Of course, you can go make a decision for yourself. And if you don't want to take my word for it, look at the thousands of positive reviews online for Air Comfort Service. Online at aircomfortservice.com.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
With each breath, allergens, germs, and viruses get trapped in your nose. Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Navage available at Navage.com.
Don't pay retail for your diamond engagement ring or gift. Come to CleanOrigin.com, where experts in ecologically friendly lab-grown diamonds. Mention code RADIO10 for 10% off. That's CleanOrigin.com online or one of our retail stores.
We're here to help you get registered to vote, whether you're in Missouri or Illinois. Democracy 2024 on 97.1 FM Talk. If you need help getting registered, go to 971talk.com/vote. The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
The 2024 election is in full swing. And yes, age is an issue. I'm a grown man running against a 6-year-old. Well, I feel great. I really feel great. I'm campaigning all over the country. Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina. I've always done well in the original 13 colonies. Age is the only thing we have in common. My vice president actually endorses me.
Well, it's shocking that the White House Correspondents' Dinner was a safe space of sorts for Joe Biden. We don't have it here, but did you guys hear the bicycle one?
No.
I don't know what the first part of it was. This is great joke telling on the Annie Fry Show, but one of the jokes was somebody saying to him, wanted him to go do something, and he's like, when the person was saying you should do this, they're like, oh, it's as easy as riding a bicycle. And then Biden says, well, that's what I'm afraid of. Which I think is kind of funny.
Okay.
I like these kind of jokes. There's also that Catholic event that takes place. It's either right before the election or right after. I think it's right before the election. It's a big dinner, and it's just a roast. And I think that that's fantastic. I enjoy it. I can listen to Joe Biden tell jokes like that about Donald Trump acting like a 6-year-old, and I'm amused by it. Somebody wrote that for him. He delivered the line or whatever. I think it's funny. What I don't think is funny is what Joe Biden is doing to the country. And I can separate the two. Like if he says something that's funny like that, I can sit here and laugh at it. Here's another.
Like many of you here tonight, I pretend to do news on TV. My weekend update co-anchor, Michael Che, was going to join me here tonight, but in solidarity with President Biden, I decided to lose all my black support.
That's funny. Oh.
The room, yeah. Oh, these are unacceptable.
Oh. If Colin, is it Jost?
Jost.
If Colin Jost is saying that at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, there's truth to it.
Yeah.
This is good news, people. the idea that there would be an awakening of sorts from people. I don't know that it translates into Trump support, but that this Democrat Joe Biden stuff, that ain't it. I think it matters. Going back to the conversation we started the show with, Brad and I were talking about the YouTube poll today. Do you think that you know Donald Trump's VP pick? I am a strong, emphatic no. I have no idea, because I can think of a lot of good reasons that he would choose to pick one person or the other. But the more I think about it and the more I definitively like, that's absolutely what he should do. I just feel like that is an exercise in futility, because the more convinced I am that he should pick somebody, the more guaranteed it is that he wouldn't choose that person. Another thing is, doesn't he have a place in, is it Jersey? Bedminster or whatever it is?
Yeah.
For him to switch his residence from Florida to Bedminster so that you don't have the Florida thing, because like so many of the good ones are in Florida right now. the way that works, and I'm going to fudge this. I should have asked Will Sharf this earlier on the show, but you should check out that conversation. It was a good one. You can have a president and a vice president from the same state, but the electors, the slate of electors, can't cast for the president and the vice president should they be from the same state. So they would have to vote for Trump and not Marco Rubio or Ron DeSantis or Byron Donalds or whoever else might be from Florida.
Kat Kamik.
Rick Scott.
Yeah.
Kat Kamik. So I don't think that the Florida thing is a game changer. I don't think it would be that big of a deal for him to say, my home is Jersey now. I don't think that would be bad at all. And I think that puts all the Florida people on the map. Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, their rom-com called Brunch in Miami.
Meet cute.
I hate that word. I learned that word on this show.
Did you?
I had never heard that before. That was a long time ago. We were talking about words. And somebody said something about a meet cute, and I had never heard of that. Ron DeSantis, I was listening to Brian Kilmeade this morning, and he was reporting that they have a mutual friend / donor who was playing golf with Ron DeSantis, and that it kind of, the report from Kilmeade was that it kind of started in conversation with DeSantis, and DeSantis was like, yeah, I'll meet with him. So I don't know that that's like a VP conversation, unless the donor was like, you should be Trump's VP. And DeSantis was like, well, I'd talk to him about it. I'm not getting my hopes up for that. I think Ron DeSantis can be a major player in the 2024 election, an influencer, so to speak, in the 2024 election to steer people towards Donald Trump without having to be the VP. But I think he would be a good VP, especially when it comes to policy and getting crap done, because that was the biggest problem that I have with Donald Trump's presidency in the first term is it just took him too long to get stuff done. Donald Trump's been on the inside. He's not an outsider anymore. He's been on the inside, and he can, from day one, be much more effective than he was in his term two, or in his first term. Who does he need? Does it need to be, when we talk about losing the black support with Colin Jost's comment there, does putting somebody who's a person of color on the ticket help turn some of those people of color who supported Joe Biden, who are not supporting him anymore, does that turn them into non-Biden voters all the way over to Trump supporters? Brad, did you have an answer to this question?
Yeah, I'm a no. I don't know who his VP pick is. Usually I can get an idea of where somebody's leaning or somebody's going based on the reporting, but the reporting on this has been so sporadic and just scattered all over the place. I've heard Ben Carson, Vivek, Tulsi Gabbard.
Don't you feel like the reporting is always influential from the person who's doing the reporting?
I feel like that's where it is now. I mean, in years past, maybe not as much, but this one, It's like it's just somebody trying to get out in front, and it's like, maybe if I say this person, I'll look like a genius.
I don't think Ben Carson is a good VP pick.
I don't think he is either. And this might sound...
Surgeon General?
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, I think he should be part of the administration. But I don't know that Ben Carson helps the ticket in any way that Tim Scott doesn't. I think Tim Scott would be a better pick for VP than Ben Carson would be. But I don't know if Tim Scott is the pick for VP.
What do you think?
Well, I'm a no on the poll simply because I don't think it's going to be anybody that we're expecting. I could see somebody like a Byron Donalds, but these are names that are just sort of out there. There's not like a leading candidate, so I just don't know. But I do think that one of the best things he could do going into the pick is to do the exact opposite that Joe Biden did. Where he said, well, I'm going to pick a woman and I'll probably pick a person of color, whatever it was. That he was just, I'm going to check off some boxes here. Trump should do the exact opposite and say, I really don't care about those things. I am going to pick the best woman or man for the job, regardless of their race or sex or anything. And then if it is Tim Scott, if it is a female, if it is Kristi Noem, whoever, great. We know that he picked the best person for the job, and he publicly said it. I would love to hear that.
Does anybody think it's going to be Kristi Noem?
No.
Not anymore.
No.
I never did. Why would it be Kristi Noem? What does she offer?
I think she was a rising star within the Republican Party for a while, and she's female, and she apparently everybody knows her, says she's really, really smart. But I don't really know what she brings to the ticket at this point.
I don't see it. I'm going to just say it. She's very pretty, and she's a governor. She didn't lock her state down. I think that there's something to be said about that. But I haven't seen. I don't understand the Kristi Noem thing. I'd a million light years more prefer Sarah Huckabee Sanders if we're going female governors. But I don't think you want to take somebody who's a governor out of the state. That is a huge, important position. And if you've got these strong governors in these red states, that's really going to matter and make a difference. And I don't know why you would want to pull out somebody who is doing a really good job as a governor, which is why I just don't think that the Ron DeSantis thing, you were saying, like, you would like to see him keep doing Florida things.
Yes, I want Ron DeSantis to do Florida things and keep winning in Florida. I think, too, along those lines, whenever you think about, if you're going to pull somebody that is a senator, I think you want a senator from a state that has a Republican governor, because the Republican governor assigns the replacement into the Senate.
I also don't know that that's safe. Jeff Sessions. I mean, are you sure they appointed? It's not.
It might depend on the state, but I think because wasn't Martha McSally no, she was appointed,
and then she ran right away.
And then she ran and she lost the appointment, but she also ran as a special election and lost.
In Illinois, Rod Blagojevich went to jail because he was basically auctioning off the Obama seat. Chris says on YouTube, answer the poll, do you think you know Donald Trump's pick? And she says no, but Trump apparently met with DeSantis over the weekend. Please, all caps, God, exclamation points. I agree. Chris says no. Does he know yet? I would assume that he's got a short list and he's going to go as long as he can without having to share that spotlight when the court cases are moving in the direction that they're moving. It's not hurting him. He's not being politically undercut by what he refers to the election interference and sham charges against him. So I think that you don't change the news cycle when it's going in your favor. And I would say right now, it looks like from every poll that's out there and the way people are very disenchanted with the Biden administration, you just let that be the story as long as you possibly can. And when you need to change the narrative, boom, there's the VP pick. Lori says, no idea. Steven says, I'm available and ready to serve. Someone just needs to tell President Trump this, LOL. Price says no and not confident he can pick a good one. And Ender says, no clue. Would love to see Vivek as his pick or Tulsi. What do you guys think about Vivek Ramaswamy as the vice presidential pick?
I love giving him a platform. I don't know if he's the right guy for VP. I think he's turned some people off that you'd want to be pulling in with a vice presidential
like
pick. The middle. The hard.
You think Vivek gets...
No, he's pushed away the middle.
You think he's pushed away the middle?
Yeah, I do. I think he's had some polarizing opinions about foreign policy that have made him a little less palatable to the middle. And he's an extreme candidate, and in a way that I like, but he's willing to pull no punches. And so I would love to see him get a platform where he speaks in the administration. I just don't know if VP is the right place.
I think Vivek's positions on foreign policy and stuff have been pretty isolationist and is actually favorable towards the middle. I think that his most polarizing position is being pro-Trump.
Yeah. I don't know if his foreign policy pushes away the middle or not. I don't know how many middle people are very, very, very hawkish.
They're not.
They're not. So I think Vivek,
unless they have the Ukraine flag in their profile name.
Well, I just go with it. Like, I ask myself this question: president, and then whoever you think the vice president candidate would be. President Vivek Ramaswamy. I could see that. I think he would be a good president. So I don't think Vivek would be a bad pick. I don't like Tulsi Gabbard.
That was my next question.
I don't. I think.
Why?
Well, I think she's still a Democrat in certain areas that I'm not. I don't trust her yet on those.
It's like supporting RFK Jr.
Yeah.
Because he's not Joe Biden, and politically he has crossed over in some COVID-related things that might align with what some Republican voters are interested in. Meanwhile, He's a raging liberal.
Yeah. And I think Tulsi Gabbard's foreign policy is even more isolationist than Vivek's is.
What do you think about Tulsi?
From what I know about her positions, especially on social positions, abortion, I think, is the main one that I hear that she's very pro-abortion. That's not right for a Republican ticket. She says some things that I like, just like a lot of independent voices do, where they hit the things that you like, and
Like what?
About the state being too big. She talks about the government just being, in your back pocket too much and that kind of stuff. I like that stuff. And that's important right now. That's a very, very important issue right now. Like, how big is your government? And she's not a big government Democrat, so I like that. But
does that make her more libertarian than it does?
It would seem to.
But like left-leaning libertarian.
I think so. So I'm a no on her too.
Yeah, I'm a big no on Tulsi Gabbard. I'm a no on Vivek Ramaswamy. I just don't. I think he's good for the party. I just don't. He never got me to where I was like really buying what he was selling because the sell felt too hard to me. And I don't know. There's still time. If he were the VP, I don't think that Ramaswamy's ego and Trump's ego can fit in the same room together. And the Donald Trump ego has to trump the vice president's ego in a way that the vice president understands what their role is and when it's their time to speak. Because if you really think about how much a vice president can be relegated during an administration, it's pretty significant. Mm-hmm. And if your job is to shake hands and kiss babies, that's where I feel like a Doug Burgum or something comes in to do that. But I don't want to waste the vice president position for 4 years for someone who I don't want to vote for. I want to vote for that vice president for president in 4 years.
Yeah. That makes me wonder, though, like you said, the egos thing, would that preclude Ron DeSantis from being VP?
I think Ron DeSantis would know the task. I think he'd understand his assignment as vice president. I think that he would go in, if he were to agree to something, and I don't think that it's likely that it's a Trump DeSantis thing, but if he were to agree to it, I think that he would go into it as any vice presidential candidate would want to know, like, what do you expect out of me? Because I serve at the pleasure of the president is something that is said on a regular basis, because your goal has to be the goal of the president. It's not I serve at the pleasure of the vice president ever. The vice president has to be there to help move the president's thought process, policy, order, everything. And if you're serving at the pleasure of the president, if I'm Ron DeSantis, I'm going to say, how do I help you fulfill what you're promising voters when they vote for this ticket? And then if Donald Trump is smart, and I think he is, he finds out where Ron DeSantis expands the ticket. And you put Ron DeSantis on, Ron DeSantis is a naval lawyer. He is the same position like a JAG officer, the way Tom Cruise was in A Few Good Men. And Ron DeSantis's role when he was serving overseas, I believe in Iraq and Afghanistan, or one or the other, was to deal with like rules of engagement and say that people would say, this is what we need to do. We need to go do this. And he would say, okay, here's how you're going to do this legally. He understands how to use the system and say, here is the path to getting that done. And he has done that incredibly adequately in Florida. He understands these laws. He's creative in the way he gets stuff done. He could lend so much guidance to the administration to get things done. He could do all of that without having to be the vice president. The question is, if Donald Trump puts on somebody who 100% is going to know their role and not take any of the spotlight away from Donald Trump because Donald Trump's ego can't handle it, which is possible. I don't know. I don't want to set the Republican Party up. Like, just look at the Democrats right now. Kamala, that's the next. If Joe Biden and Harris win this election, do the Democrats just inherit and have to follow along with a Kamala Harris presidency because she's the VP? Blech. I wouldn't want that at all. And so I don't want to do that for the Republicans either. Give us your thoughts. Give us your reaction to the Annie Frey YouTube channel. Quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about which party, Republicans or Democrats, are funnier and who's killing comedy. I give you one guess. We'll be right back.
Straight to my lover's heart.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Cupid, please hear my cry and let your arrow fly straight to my lover's heart for me. Now, I don't mean to bother you, but I'm in distress. There's danger of me losing.
Now, there's another event coming up. I can't wait to be there. Hopefully, I will see you there. You got to reserve your spot. Thomas Helbig and the Retirement Advisory Group are doing another Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Thursday, May 16th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30 p.m. If you're nearing retirement or just retired, this is the event for you. It's free. There are snacks, and all you got to do is reserve your spot. 314-993-9494, 314-993-9494. The last time we were at one of these events, the room was super packed, and I talked to so many of you who have said, gosh, I've been wanting to do this forever and ever and ever. Finally glad that we managed to work it out so that they could be here. If that's you right now, don't put it off any longer. It doesn't cost you anything to come. You get to learn from Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw and Tammy Kershaw about how the Retirement Advisory Group can help you to set up a free appointment. So you're not out anything but maybe 45 minutes to an hour of your time. It starts at 6:30 p.m. I'll be there at 6 p.m. from 6 to 6:30 trying to meet as many of you as I can. So come early. I would love to see you. So will Mark Cox and Mark Reardon. And it's just a phone call to set up your seats, reserved spots at the event. 314-993-9494, retirementkey.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsLhonorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Baseball is back, basketball is heating up, and the NFL Draft is right around the corner. Listen to the latest on the teams you love with the free Odyssey app. The biggest sports radio stations in the country, providing unrivaled local coverage of their teams, all in one place. Exclusive interviews with players, coaches, and team executives, streaming live and always available on demand. Stay in the know with your favorite teams with Odyssey, AUDACY. Download the free Odyssey app today.
The cost of education can be a burden. That's why Missouri's Most 529 program was created, to help folks save for their loved one's education. Contributions to Most 529 accounts grow tax-free and are eligible for a state tax deduction of up to $16,000. Families can save for K-12, college, trade, or technical schools. To learn more, go to MissouriMost.org or type Most 529 into your search engine.
Sponsored by the Missouri State Treasurer's Office.
I get asked a lot, what's the difference between the efficiency ratings and the numbers that customers hear while they're getting prices? Pretty much the difference is the numbers. As far as actual savings, there is a very easy common sense way to explain the differences in the energy ratings and the types of energy rating on the furnaces, what you can get and what you can't get, and what's best suited for you, what you actually do need or what you absolutely do not need. You'll be surprised and very happy that you called me. So call me, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It is 314-293-2600. This is the only number that you need to call. 314-293-2600 or on the website Bart Inman. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Del Walmsley and the Wealth Cycle.
This is the wealth cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people. And much quicker than you'd even believe.
Learn Dell's Wealth Cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2024. Save 60%. Code 2024. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
Are you tired of feeling sick and tired? I'm Dr. Nick Barnes of Health From Within Family Chiropractic. Our simple 5-step approach aligns your health naturally. We correct spinal abnormalities to maximize nerve supply, focus on pure and simple nutrition, exercise and oxygen, mindset, and minimizing toxins in your body. Transform your health today with Health from Within, conveniently located on Manchester in Rock Hill or online at healthfromwithinstl.com.
Want to listen to 97.1 outside the listening area? There's an app for that. Download the Odyssey app, and one tap will turn the station on. The Odyssey app for 97.1 FM Talk. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
I'll be your light, your match, your burning sun. I'll be the bright and black that's making you run, and we'll feel alright. We'll feel alright, 'cause we'll work it out. Yeah, we'll work it out. Now we're doing this. If you never doubt, till the love runs out, till the love runs out. I'll be your ghost, your game, your stadium.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Appreciate you being with us this afternoon, Monday afternoon. Rainy weekend, but pretty nice day out there right now, I think. Low 70s. That's a very nice welcomed spring temperature. So we appreciate you spending some of that afternoon here with us. We've been saying this for quite a while on this show. I don't think we're the only people saying it, but the idea that comedy, I've said that we're going to save free speech in two different places. On the comedy stage and from the pulpit. People who are willing to do and say what they want to do and say without the pressures of cancel culture and everything coming in, and really trying to spook people into not talking about the things that matter to them. There's a huge emphasis right now on trying to control speech. And comedians are certainly going to be some of the ones who are going to have to save us from that. And Jerry Seinfeld was on, I think it's the New Yorker radio hour, and this is what he had to say.
Nothing really affects comedy. People always need it. They need it so badly, and they don't get it. It used to be you would go home at the end of the day, most people would go, oh, Cheers is on, oh, MASH is on, oh, Mary Tyler Moore is on, All in the Family's on. You just expected there'll be some funny stuff we can watch on TV tonight. Well, guess what? Where is it? This is the result of the extreme left and PC crap and people worrying so much about offending other people.
Mm-hmm.
When you write a script and it goes into 4 or 5 different hands, committees, groups, here's our thought about this joke, well, that's the end of your comedy. They move the gates, like in skiing. Yeah. Culture, the gates are moving. Your job is to be agile and clever enough that wherever they put the gates, I'm going to make the gate.
Jerry Seinfeld, of course, everybody knows who Jerry Seinfeld is, has been doing stand-up comedy and writing for very, very funny and very successful TV shows. I've heard him be frustrated. There was one thing that he did, and he was on a panel, and someone's like, I noticed that you don't have a lot of diversity. And he goes, oh, that's where we're going with this. And he basically said something to the effect of, like, I hate people like you. I mean, straight out with it. But in this clip here, in this interview, radio interview that he was doing with the New Yorker podcast, he comes straight out and says the left. Mm-hmm. That seems to be new to me from a guy like Seinfeld, who he is the type of person that if I were ever fortunate enough to be in the presence of him, like in a meeting setting or in a discussion setting, I would not feel like I was going to be safe from him if he found something funny about me, that it was going to be put out there. He doesn't strike me as the person who's like, not these people, or we're going to focus only on those people. And he's not a shock comedian. No. He just finds things to be humorous, which is something that I asked Tom Shalhoub on Friday. Do you find it, do you as a comedian have to look for the funny, or do you have to sometimes suppress the funny? Because I think people who have that just different outlook on life, you find yourself finding humor and funny things where you're not supposed to laugh about this. Like, you're supposed to be straight-laced, straight-faced, and there's supposed to be no humor in certain kinds of things. But I think the comedians can always find a wrinkle of comedy, and the bold ones go out and they say it on stage, and they make a lot of money because they're willing to say it and do it. You can't do that in a world where you worship cancel culture and you turn over your First Amendment rights to speak about things because it's too scary if you do. I just find it interesting that Jerry Seinfeld is out there saying the extreme left. To me, that seems like a shift.
I remember being in a room like this before. It was a sitcom writer's room, and there were probably 6 or 7 people in there. And everybody was kicking around jokes. And that's what you do when you're writing a sitcom, is you kick around jokes and you talk about which way you want scenes to go and things like that. And there was an intern in the room who I didn't know what her politics were, but apparently she was pretty far left. And she started criticizing the room because some of the things we were saying were inappropriate. And it was like, yeah, that's the process, is you say things and they might be inappropriate and then they get kicked out. They don't make the show, or you're doing it to make people feel uncomfortable because that's the artistic process. And the room just died. It was so terrible how the creative process just came to a screeching halt because somebody was there to judge.
Well, I was going to ask, I would feel like maybe one person like that could kill a room, but that answers that question. I think what we're seeing with Seinfeld here is ire placed on the correct source. Like, we have a problem with comedy because he said that. He said, you come home and he's like, what's on TV that's so funny anymore? And it's not there. So that begs the question, why isn't it there? And so he's like, this is the problem. This is why we can't have fun, because these people don't know how to laugh. They know how to get angry, they know how to get outraged, and they know how to get sad, but they don't know how to laugh. And that's why we don't have comedy.
Gosh, I don't want to eat my words, and I would if I were wrong. But does the right do this?
There are aspects of the right that are very, very like litmus test that you have to pass.
Wait, but for comedy?
But not for, I don't think so for comedy.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, anybody can imagine being in a room where people are letting jokes fly and you're like, oh, we cannot put that one in. And Shalou said that last week too, and we know what it's like. And here, we'll have conversations on the break and we'll be talking about things that are funny, and I'm pretty certain that most of you would think it was funny, but it's like, that's not stuff that can go over the air. So you don't do it over the air. If you're writing a sitcom, naturally, probably the things you laugh the hardest at are not going to get included because you can't. But if is there, I mean, I can imagine, like, I just can't imagine it happening in comedy. Like, if you're a really stuffy Republican, and usually what that means is somebody who is, and I'll say it this way, like a Bible thumper. Brad, you know what I'm talking about. Like somebody who wants to come in and rain on everybody's parade and is a holier than thou type of a person and can't find humor in. But I mean, those people are not in comedy rooms the way the leftists would be, who would have the purity tests on what we are going to do and what we're not going to do. Which is why I asked the question, like, does the right kill the funny anywhere?
No, I can't think of anywhere where that's happening now.
The closest I've seen is I've seen some people on the right go after the Babylon Bee. Like, we shouldn't be making fun of our own. And it's like, yes, we should. We should laugh at everything that is funny because that's what it was. And Seth Dillon, to his credit, came out and defended it. And I don't even remember what it was. And after he did that, that was kind of that.
But even the Babylon Bee is a little bit of an outsider source for comedy. You know, the mainstream stuff, the Hollywood stuff, the stuff that's getting made with big money, there's not really a lot of conservative voices in that stuff, first of all, to be censored. But those people are just not put in the room because he's not really like part of the culture. The culture is leftist in those rooms.
The difference between comedy and bullying, to me, is comedy is when everybody is fair game. If you are getting together and saying, no, we only laugh at these people, we don't laugh at those people, then you're a bully. And the only difference is you either laugh at everybody or nobody.
Well, yeah, because whenever you target a group and that's the only group that you target, then it becomes malicious.
Yes.
So you want to say something funny because it's like, hey, like, Ryan, when I tease you, I'm not coming from a spot of anything other than, you're my
Hate.
friend, and this
Disgust.
is hate, rage, and disgust.
I side with Annie here.
But the idea
Which is
is
rare.
Which is like, and Ryan makes fun of me too.
I'm here
and,
for you, Ryan.
And we're not.
But it's all off air.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But when Annie does it,
I know. You just shell up.
yeah.
You're like, what am I going to do now?
But that's just it. We do it. This like when my buddies and I get together, we make fun of one another, we rag on one another, and it's fine. It's great.
Because you know you like each other.
Because we like one another. And as a matter of fact, if my buddies weren't making fun of me, I'd be like,
What's wrong, guys?
"What's up?"
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, it's a really good icebreaker. Like when you are getting to know somebody, to jab them a little bit. It makes them feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And you can't do that unless there is a little bit of camaraderie. And that is gone. That is gone. It has become activist comedy because, like both of you just said, it makes fun of one side, one group of people, and not the other.
Well, it's not comedy. It's bullying. Look no further than the Alec Baldwin, Donald Trump. I really believe that if Saturday Night Live made fun of Donald Trump and Joe Biden in equal parts, that Saturday Night Live would have a bigger contingent of MAGA support than they would anything else. Because you can't, if you're so stuffy as a Republican that you're not allowed to make any jokes around Donald Trump, then you're not actually paying attention to anything Donald Trump does. Because that dude is funny. Like, funny in the way he is. I was just thinking the other day, we were playing a Trump clip from a press conference after he walked out of the courtroom. And I thought to myself, I didn't say this on the air, I thought to myself, like, when I hear Donald Trump speak and I'm only hearing it, I'm not watching it, I actually hear a Trump impersonator more than I hear Donald Trump, because the good Trump impersonators are hilarious.
Yes.
What's his name? Shane Gillis or
Shane
whatever?
Gillis is amazing.
Yes. And there's so much material there that people who love the man would still 100% be able to laugh at. I think the joke that we played from the White House Correspondent Dinner of Joe Biden saying that, age is a big issue because his opponent is a 6-year-old is funny. And I can sit here and think that that's laughable because the joke in and of itself is funny. The problem is that the converse of that would never, you wouldn't do the converse of that on an SNL skit or whatever, because they wouldn't want, honestly, to point out the truth that exists in the comedy that Joe Biden is too old. When Joe Biden does that joke, he is joking about his age.
Mm-hmm.
The joke is not funny if Joe Biden is not super old.
Right.
The joke is funny because he's making an age joke, which everybody's like, oh, Joe Biden in his age. And when you flip it at the end and say that the reason why the age is an issue is because Donald Trump is 6-year-old, I find that to be good navigational humor. And I'm okay. Like, I can handle that because I'm a big girl and I'm not going to hear that and go, oh man, they're being mean to Donald Trump. What? Like, of course they are. I'm okay with it. I just want it to be equal. And since it's not equal, it is bullying, and people are off-put by that. No good person wants to be adjacent to the mean girl.
Right.
And the media, on the whole, is the mean girl. Let's take a quick break. We'll get the results to the YouTube live chat poll when we come back. Do you think you know Donald Trump's VP pick? Yes or no? I'm surprised at the results of this poll so far. Go in and weigh in and let us know what you think. Let's see here. Russell said, I said no. No reason to announce it just yet. Wait another month. Then he and Biden can disclose who they are both picking for VP. Oh.
And there's a twist?
Yes, a little twist at the
Interesting.
end. We'll see what the results are. We come back. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Stewart's American Mortgage is the home of the bagel loan, and it's the only place that you can get a bagel loan. When you call 314-324-4440, that's 314-324-4440, Stewie is going to pick up the phone. You can text him as well, and you can ask him all of the questions that you need to know about how a bagel loan can help you. If you're looking to get a mortgage or to refinance a mortgage, 314-324-4440, Stewie's going to tell you how you will pay zero in closing costs. They don't exist. He doesn't put them in the loan, finance them over the course of the 30 or 20 or 15 years or whatever you're going to get. There are no closing costs. This can save you thousands of dollars when you go to get your mortgage. Don't forget to check with Stewie, even if you're recommended another lender out there. Don't forget to check with Stewie. You don't have to go with anybody in particular, but you do need to call Stewie to see if he's got the best deal for you, and I almost guarantee you that he will. 314-324-4440. Reach out to Stewie today and ask him about the bagel loan. You can Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
Our $79 garage door tune-up extended through April. Is your garage door old and whining for attention? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis will make it all better. They'll perform their full 26-task garage door tune-up for just $79, extended through April. That's just $79 for up to 3 garage doors and openers. You need this done once a year, so why not now? And for just $79. Schedule now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Wait a second. Think twice before signing that petition. That innocent petition is not a replacement for Roe versus Wade. We're talking late term and partial birth long after the baby can feel pain. But that's not all. Signing that petition obliterates parental rights. Worse, it strips away malpractice protections for prenatal care, childbirth, miscarriage care, and all other reproductive health care. So if you or your loved one is hurt while accessing reproductive care, you forfeit your rights to sue. So think twice before signing that petition and support our work at Coalition Life. Coalition Life is on a mission. We're dedicated to helping women faced with untimely pregnancies, providing them with compassionate alternatives that empower them with choices that protect and uphold their rights. Visit coalitionlife.com to learn more, because every life deserves a chance. Paid for by Coalition Life.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a truck accident, you need the best. Onder Law. Let us make your case our cause. Truck accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
I know we're all busy. We're working, we're running errands, trying to take care of the kids. It's really easy to put things off. One thing you do not want to put off, though, your annual eye exam. The doctors at Ophthalmology Associates not only gave me the most thorough eye exam I've ever had, but they're also experts in the diagnosis and treatment of all diseases of the eye. Everything from dry eye to macular degeneration and cataracts. Think about this. Your eye health is the window into your overall body health. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranja Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and Samuel Berry, they can look at your eyes and even tell in some cases if you have early stage diabetes, heart disease, lung problems, even some forms of cancer. They're called the doctors' doctors because they've treated more than 250 doctors. The best part about this is that most insurance plans cover the cost of your annual eye exam. Set up your appointment today, 314-966-5000. Again, 314-966-5000, or go to youridoc.com.
Do you think you know Donald Trump's VP pick? I'm going to change one letter in that. So, you think you know Donald Trump's VP pick? Let us know. Is it a yes or no? But also, who do you think it is, if it is a yes for you? It's the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll of the day. We'll give you the results of that poll here in just a couple minutes, because it is 2:49. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. We're getting going here right after Fox News at 3 o'clock. And the situation on Columbia University's campus is still fluid this afternoon with protesters. And how about Wash U and their response over the weekend? We'll talk about it coming up.
I'm through with standing in line. The clubs I'll never get in. It's like the bottom of the ninth, and I'm never gonna win.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Fry Show.
I want a brand new house on an episode of Cribs, and a bathroom I can play baseball in, and a king-size tub big enough for 10 plus me. For what you need. I'll need a credit card that's got no limit. And
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. A couple extra stories before we get to those poll results that I came across on Twitter. One of them was tweeted by an Auden B. Cabello, Eagle Pass local resident Louis De La Torre. Came across an alligator while fishing this morning at the Rio Grande. Previous sightings of alligators have been confirmed by Border Patrol. Why have we been doing this? Put alligators in the Rio Grande. You don't need a wall. You just need the suggestions that alligators might be present.
Is this the Florida National Guard arriving?
Pay it. Yeah, possibly. The video, I'm retweeting it right now
That is
at
a
Annie Fry
big
Show.
alligator.
It's a biggin. How many alligators need to be present to make people go, nope?
The answer to that question is the same for all people. One, that one alligator.
This one here.
Yeah.
I see that. I'm never getting in that water.
Now the answer would be different if it were piranha, because if there were one piranha, you might chance it. But a few, that's how many you'd need.
There's never one piranha.
They're always a pack of piranha. I
And
think
it's not
that's
like
the,
you see them.
That's the term for them. Pack.
School.
Ryan's full of crap.
Yes, he is.
And you can tell by his he stuck his nose at a 45-degree angle up in the air when he
his
was saying
chin.
that. Just to try to sell it. I don't think he sold it.
Well, not now that you pointed it out.
Um,
Everybody was with me.
But no, really, alligators?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Is this an uncommon thing? Like, do alligators not usually go to the Rio Grande?
I've never heard of alligators being in the Rio Grande.
I haven't either. So how did it get
No,
there?
Yeah.
I think I have an idea.
Yeah.
They're usually like in swampy, marshy areas and stuff like that. And the Rio Grande isn't like that. It's kind of like desert and then water through the middle of it.
Exactly. Bobo Farm says, didn't Trump suggest that, or was that a B story? Who knows?
Nobody knows.
It might be a solution.
I tell you what, the way that alligator probably got in there is that an alligator was walking around one day.
It's just an animatronic. You know
And
it
somebody,
is.
yeah.
That's like,
Oh, it's eating a fish.
starts to malfunction
Yeah.
a little.
Oh, we didn't consider the fact that water hurts animatronics. Somebody saw an alligator, they grabbed it by the tail, and they just started spinning around. And then they just let it go. And if it went in the Rio Grande, it went in the Rio Grande. And it
Landed
did.
by a pack of piranhas.
Yeah, which were also out on the land.
Yeah, you're just like David Attenborough.
Yes. I've been told this many times.
But no, really, alligators.
Or crocodiles. Are you opposed to that?
I think alligators are bigger.
Yes.
Depends on the crocodile. The Nile crocodile is really big.
Yeah, but they're in the Nile.
So is this. But they'd also be in the Rio Grande if you put them there.
How big are the Rio Grande crocodiles?
Depends on which ones you put in there.
I don't think we know what we're talking about. You should see my
I
husband's
do.
face. I know you think you know what you're talking about. You should see my husband's face when I start talking about animals and history and like just like ancient history and stuff like that. The kids will ask me questions. And I've told this story before, but I just like start making up factual stories.
Oh,
Just
I
like,
love this.
Just like Ryan does.
Yeah. It's
Um,
great. It's fun.
Mom, what kind of bird is that? And I give him an answer.
That's awesome.
And unfortunately, it's backfired because my kids now believe nothing that I say.
Oh, okay.
But I can only really get away with it when Jared's not there. Because he
outs you.
probably, for the sake of my children, is like, Mom doesn't know what she's talking about. And they're like, Mom. And some, you know how your kids, I don't know if your kids are like partial to one of the parents and playful with the other. One of our kids particularly is partial to me and playful with Jared. And if I say it, she's just like, Mom said it was this, so that's just real.
Yeah.
That's an Oreo bird. That's the last one I said. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
black on each end and white in the middle. And I
That's
was
where
like,
we get the cookie.
That's an Oreo. That's what I said. I
Yeah.
go. The name of the cookie was actually after the bird.
Yeah. And the original Oreos were made from bird droppings.
That's not true. That would be disgusting.
Oh,
Ryan.
okay. That part's not true. You're right.
Uh-huh. The other, oh gosh, I'm going to play this real quick because I really want to get this clip in here. Hold on a second. This is so fantastic. This is a real story from Louisiana. Listen to this.
Prosecutors in Livingston Parish say justice is finally served after 54-year-old Glenn Sullivan admitted he raped a young girl.
The allegations have began several years ago that Mr. Sullivan had repeatedly raped her, and one of the rapes, actually the first rape, at the age of 14, she became pregnant.
A judge sentenced Sullivan to 50 years behind bars and physical castration. Castration is something Assistant District Attorney Brad Cassio says is not common, but paints a clear picture.
The state legislature gives us tools that we can use to fight crime and
scissors.
protect victims. And this is one of those tools in a prosecutor's toolbox that we have at our disposal. And if I have the opportunity to do it, and I think that it's just and that the crime calls for it, I'm going to try my best to use it.
The suspect will serve physical castration. This guy raped a 14-year-old girl, got her pregnant, is going to spend 50 years in jail, and they're taking
Tiny guillotine.
those testicles.
Dem.
I am for this.
Yes.
by way of alligator.
Okay.
By way of
Okay, I mean, that's a
alligator.
twist,
We
but
are
okay.
Holy
solving
cow.
2 birds, 1 stone. Let's go. Line them up at the Rio Grande. You do that to a child, chomp, chomp.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys have anything to say? You're speechless.
Well, we're in favor of it.
Yes.
We're, I think, picturing it, how it goes down, and
I'm not.
it's
Do we break now?
highly effective, Annie. That's what I'll conclude the show with.
That's the point.
Highly effective method.
The point. Snip, snip, chomp, chomp. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Take care of all of those
Here,
problems.
just stand in front of this alligator.
In other news, do you think, do you know Donald Trump's VP pick? 86% of you said no. And I am with the 86%. But I want to know who it's going to be. Maybe Mark Reardon knows. He's coming up next. Don't go away.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-239-1749. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-239-1749. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-239-1749. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-239-1749, 800-239-1749, or biglou.com.